Leche. Leche. Leche.
Introducing PubCoin. PubCoin is the rewards program for pub sports contributors. Regular chat contributors share their play of the day, POD, in the YouTube chat, including the phrase POD in their message. At the end of the week, the amount of units earned are converted into PubCoins. PubCoin can be used as reward points for prizes, shop discounts, and contests.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mills here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round. Every single week, a new winner's getting crowned. So every Saturday on Pub Sports Radio. So come on and check us out. You can win $100 just for signing up. Only thing you need to do is see if you can beat us here at Pub Sports Radio by entering your UFC predictions and picks weekly. Do it. I dare you. See you guys soon.
Your membership to Gold, you will be automatically entered in every horse race, every Wednesday and Friday. It is time to race horses. We are racing camels today.
Shout out to the Gold members. We're racing in San Antonio immediately here. And we're off. 2 minutes, 74 canals on this racetrack. It's wide. We're racing in San Antonio.
Matt Wally moving forwardly. Jeff Slaughter in the mix as well. And as is Randall Sheffield, who's put that beautiful nose out front.
But it's actually real grass here, Jimmy. Maybe Kentucky bluegrass. Oldie, no! There he goes. Oldie in the lead now. K. Wolf falls back. The horses love it. Sometimes they stop and eat it on the way to the finish line. That's why your horses start so far in the back. Here. Oh, look at Nusswash Allen bursting out here. J-Dub in the mix. Rude Boy up here as well. Jimmy, take it away.
There's Oldie. Oldie is moving to the front. We are past the halfway mark in our 2 mile. And there's Ricky Levy.
Oh my goodness, he's in the mix here. Jimmy, take it home. This is our first dog race ever.
19 seconds left in the horse race here. It's Fernando Mendoza trying to find the wire. 14 seconds left. Can Fernando Mendoza take this home? Here comes Kenny Ken. Kenny Ken wants a piece of the pie. Put his schnoz up front. Ricky Bobby, 9 seconds left. Can Donut Silks make a run? Can Res Mall make a run to be $50?
You son of a bitch!
Here comes Tori Coker. Kenny Ken, Smoke and Mirrors, Director 97 home. That is the way. Here comes Jason Meyer, the other auto custodian, Billy Friedrich. Those one are all coming down to the finish.
Coin! Nowhere!
Oh no, Fanatical Jim.
From the corporate Peter Loshak, legendary sports handicapper, more dapper than a dom. By the young phenom known as Jimmy, who declared one day that the bag was here to stay. Information like a PSA, when we all PSR, Pub Sports Radio Bizarre. Is a man named Slaughter and he flipped the script. No competition in this they quit the trip. But we say we be pubbing, betting with the bag and you love it. We want a top 10, we above it. Let's check.
Yeah, that track always gets me going. Jimmy the Bag, how you doing, baby?
I'm doing really well, Pete.
All right.
Great week. Great run. Feeling confident.
Oh, very nice.
This morning, For the first time all year in the black in NHL. It's just by the tiniest of margins, but after 380 bets, nice to get there. 5-0 post Four Nations plus 7 units.
Shit.
Yeah, it feels good.
Wow.
Almost up double digits, just a taint hair of the double digits up in NBA on the season.
Oh,
so
that's very impressive.
And I gained back about 8 units college basketball. Now I'm still down on the season, and it's not great, but moving in the right direction. Morgan Spooner in the chat, being great, capping with him heavy on our shows. I feel very hopeful, Pete, and I'm so excited about San Antonio Pubapalooza 4.
Yeah,
So,
it's gonna be fun as hell. I'm still like using 99% of my brain power to like every space in there is on college basketball right now, and NHL of course, and NBA too. It's gonna be great. I brought my room. I haven't bought my ticket yet, but I'll get it. I'll get that very soon. Got to get that. Jimmy the bag. I'm just going over. I'm just looking at the NHL games from the last 2 days, wondering what you had. I had, there were a couple. I definitely had Buffalo over the Rangers. That was
nice.
Yes.
I did not have that. I did not have that. My Saturday was just really wonderful. I mean, I could have hammered a couple leans too, but this is the Saturday. Oh, it was with the Ducks, of course.
Yes,
Ducks
I was on them just because I have your analysis of them from like 3 weeks ago in my head at all times. So I'm betting them either on team total overs or first periods or whatever. You know what I mean?
I'm looking forward to capping the Ducks as we move forward. They're a really fun team to cap. Ducks plus 175 on Saturday. Canadiens plus 135 in Ottawa. That I told Turnsey that's the best bet on the board.
Really?
The Senators were so disheveled. They still are a mess with Pinto and Norris both out. Your second, third centerman, they're a mess. And then you had Brady Tkachuk getting the break, so they were just horrible. And then Kraken plus 190 at Florida. Florida was a mess too, but I was a little nervous to pull the trigger. Thank you to Birdie, who was like, "You got to be on Kraken if you're on the Ducks and the Habs because it fits the same criteria." And then last night, my patented Sharks first period plus a half minus 105.
Yes.
It was ridiculous that the Jets were minus 500. Just ridiculous. And the only way I prefer to attack that is through 20 minutes with a plus a half. If I could have taken them first period, that would have been glorious for first period money line. And then the Kings, that market moved heavy against me. You've taught me in NHL not to be too concerned about that in NHL and in CFL, which is really fascinating. We'll get into that here soon. Great to see all of you guys here in the chat. Eriksson Ek injured in practice for the Wild, placed on injured reserve. Good God, is that a monstrous loss? Good God, I did not have that in my notes, Slatsy. Wow. A couple things here before we get started, Pete. Our friend Terry Moss, who's been in our chat for a long time, and we know he's been spending every day at the hospital. He's got his stepdad and his mother both extremely sick. His stepdad did pass away on the weekend, and he's trying to raise money for the burial, help his mom with the burial. His mom's handling the chemo treatments right now. So he started a GoFundMe. If anybody can help out a little bit, that would be wonderful. It could be $5, just to let Terry know that, that we love him. We're there for him. Jose's going to pop that link to the GoFundMe in the chat here at some point. But Terry Moss, just know that we got your back and you're not alone, my friend. And I'm so sorry that you've got to go through this. I mean, we had Dabby Cab just lose his grandfather last weekend too. It doesn't make it any easier knowing that it's about to happen. Doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't change the grief at all. In fact, it can be worse. So our love to both of you guys, Dabby Cab and the Terry Moss. And if anybody can help out our friend Terry, that would be great. Jose, as I said, will pop that into the chat here shortly. So our thoughts are with you, Terry, and we love you, man. Secondly, Pubapalooza now, 3 weeks away, Pete. So we have a group chat on X. If anybody is going to Pubapalooza and is not in that chat, let me know. please let me know. I'll get you in that chat immediately. So we have a group chat for everybody going to Pubapalooza just for connects and airplane pickups and Airbnb talk and figuring out to get everybody hooked up together. So that let me know there. Other than that, Pete, I'm pumped up, man. I'm on a great run live. I'm feeling confident. The hard work that we put in, what I've learned so much of late, Pete, is that we don't have to move on the game here. You do the hard work in cabin. You don't have to do anything pregame. You know, get in live. The work still counts. Now, we have a huge card, and we got to get in because we got 12 games in the NHL, and we got 7 games in the NBA. So we're not going to cap the full 35-game college basketball card. We are capping, and then Pete and I talked, and he was open to any games. There were 14 games. I went through every single one of them, and there were 14 games that I wanted to bet. I waited till this morning, and I moved on 3 of the 14. We're going to talk about all 14 games here, and I'd like to make moves on more of them. Shout out to all of the cappers in the chat. We got Viper with the Pelicans -3, Dallas -1, Washington -1, Carolina -1 in those last 3 in NHL from Viper. Pig Milk Play Today is in Santa Clara +6.5. Shout out to Billy Frieder. Justin McKelvey, Richmond +14.5. I came so close to Richmond first half. That was a spot that we are. I don't believe we're talking. No, I cut but that made that was the last group of cuts. I came very close to Richmond first half. We also have Illinois over 171.5 for Justin McKelvey. Stats play today number 1 and 2 for Kong's Clips is Louisville. Louisville first half and full game. Spooner, his NCAA best bets 19 and 10 here when he drops them in our chat. He's on Army +4.5. I want Army. But the line makes no sense, Morgan. That will be a game we talk about. Illinois State -1.5. Even that line made no sense, and that's off. He's also on Troy -1.5 New Mexico money line. Illinois State for the Clark Edge. My plan was to go up against Illinois State, but the market was a mess, and we'll talk more about that spot. But thank you guys all for joining us. We got a great group. Billy, as I said, Justin, we got Morgan, Series Business in the house, Kelly McInnes, Kong's Clips, Gerald Jones, Guillermo Zertucci, Crystal Craig, great to see you, Danny Kelly, Ready to Rock, the Sweaty Butcher, Rick J. Ronnie Lofton, the Nuke Worker, Red Girl in the house, Action Jackson, Sir Mackey loves pie. Dan Kelly in the house says last week posted Brooklyn to make the play-in tournament. Yes, at +2,000. Now that's down to +800. Philly's going to shut down Embiid and George and Tank. So I agree with that. Great to see all of you guys. Slatsy ready to get to work. We got this big NHL card. The Rocks are 82. Christopher Carter, Ross Pitt, super true story. Great to see all you guys. Respect here. The 30th anniversary play today. Smash and grab. I love it. Great job. Respect. Rick J only on Cincinnati -2 so far. Looking at Gonzaga first half. Cincinnati's on my plan too. I felt uncomfortable with the market. We are going to talk about that game. Sorry, I've been talking so much here, Pete, and I'll hand it over to you. One final thing here is that there are changes coming on the show. We now get Bobano on Thursdays for 1 hour. 1 hour. So I'm giving you guys a heads up that Bobano's going to just do college basketball with us for the next 3 weeks. Then he's going to move back to NHL. So we're going to open with college basketball on Thursdays now. I'll say that again tomorrow here. Great to see everybody. Rob McMahon in the house. Jessica Easton talking about our community and supporting the cappers when life challenges face them. That's beautifully put. Jessica, it's great to see you. Great to see all you guys. Ross Pitts here. Super true story. I'm looking forward to get to work. Peter, are you ready to rock, my friend? Do you have anything you want to mention or talk about before we get into the hardcore capping?
I mean, what you talked about for the last 5 minutes or so, I have like 10 things I could say. A bunch of picks that you shouted out that I'm either on. I did. What did you take? Richmond? I took that. Richmond first half. I'm already on that. +9. What else did you mention? Southern Illinois, I took that first half, although, yes, the line and the movement makes me nervous. And Cincinnati, I took that. Not first half. I took that full game. And what else did you mention?
I want Cincinnati full game, too. I can't wait to talk about all these spots here.
And then Dan Kelly, there's so much stuff. All right, let's just get into to NHL.
I thought you were too, Dan, but Washington is the kryptonite of the Brooklyn Nets. Here, let's get into NHL. So Pete's going to be getting these started, and look, it's not what my goal. It's not what I'm hoping for. It's nothing like that. But we do start the day in the black by the tiniest of taint hairs, Peter. 165 and 180, 47.8% plus 0.02 units. ROI plus 0.01%, average line plus 111. I would like to begin the climb now. There's been 5 different times I've got too close to the black and then fell off for 10 units. So we've dipped our head into the world of the black. It looks glorious. I'd like to keep it going, Pete. Take it away. I've made 2 bets on this NHL card, but there's a lot more I want. And shout out to Troy Torres. He says, low key, it's hard to be even in the chat knowing I might not be a pub 4. Troy, no worries, my man. No worries at all. We love you. We love capping with you. Obviously, we all want you there so badly, but there'll be more Pubapaloozas, and just know that you're loved and we want to cap with you. Peter Loshak, take it away. Set us up for a beauty in Toronto, Boston.
Yeah, well, Boston is one of the teams that I have had a pretty good read on this year ever since they made the coaching change. And yes, I did take Anaheim when Boston lost as a big fave against Anaheim last out, but that was mostly due to my cap of Anaheim, which is all due to your analysis of Anaheim, through the past bunch of shows. So here you have Toronto, obviously rolling, 2 nice wins since the break. Boston, kind of, I don't know. Now that the new coach has been there for a while, maybe more of a vulnerable team. I think they'll get their wins. I think they'll make some adjustments here and there. But does seem like, why wouldn't Toronto roll again? I'm going to pass on this one, but lean Toronto, lean over.
I bet Toronto. In saying that, my record with Toronto is poor. I've not handled them very well here this year. You mentioned the move from Monty to Joe Sacco. What an absolute terrible decision. Look, Joe Sacco is a great, great guy. But he's been there since 2016. You need to change something with the team. When you fire Monty and keep Joe Sacco, and they said it, they said, well, nothing's changed here. Nothing's changed. Well, then don't expect to start winning. Also, they got the terrible news about Hampus Lindholm. We thought he was coming back. Now he's gone for the season, underwent surgery for a fractured patella. They're already without star defenseman Charlie McAvoy. What do we do when a team's missing their 2 best defensemen? We fade them. The Bruins are already a bad team. They're already a bad hockey team. Don't let the vividness bias the memories of Bergeron and Krejci and Chara and McAvoy and their success. This is not a good hockey team. I'm on the Leafs -1 at plus 106. I got -150 on the money line, plus 165 on the puck line. That was at 365. Let's take a look see what it is right now here. So I got the puck line still up here. So on the money line, we have Toronto now -156. I like to see that. This moved 18 cents in the Leafs direction. The Bruins are just a fade. This total is 6. It's -115 to the under. This did go down to 5.5 for a cup of coffee. We're in TD Garden. Joseph Wall is expected 20-11-0, 2.63 goals against average, 9-10 save percentage, 1 shutout. Swayman not handling the pressure of the big contract and not having Lindholm and McAvoy in front of him for big chunks of the season. Swayman just 18-18-5, 2.98 goals against average, 8.98 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Boston power play weak, 14.8%. Will be weaker with the injuries on defense, and Marchand, a shell of his former self, 75.6% penalty killing. Toronto power play 23.1, penalty killing 79.6. It's an extremely talented hockey team. They won both their games post 4 nations. They won at home 6-3 over Carolina on Saturday, then defeated the Blackhawks in Chicago on Sunday 5-2. Max Pacioretty day-to-day with an undisclosed injury. Connor Dewar, depth centerman, is day-to-day with upper body injury. Yarncroc out with the groin injury. Hakanpää with the knee injury. Not too important. Bruins lost their lone game post 4 nations 3-2 in overtime at home versus the Ducks on Saturday night. Turnsey was all over that. He was like, the Ducks have been there for 3 days. They're champion. And they did what we needed them to do. Wasn't that late Bruins goal, and then we needed the overtime winner. But yes, Leafs -1 at plus 106 for me. Billy Friedrich says Stolar is likely in net for the Leafs. I like that. Steve G says until McAvoy comes back, fade him. We got the respect play of the day, but I am in, Pete, on the Toronto Maple Leafs -1 at plus 106.
Okay. Yeah, I missed that when I first saw the line. It was like Boston plus 120. I thought Toronto was the side. Now it's a 20-cent move. I think I'll tell you, even though it's mostly a tale of you, but no, I will. That's what I was thinking as well. I'll add it on to. There's no reason to think that that Boston will suddenly come to play here, right? Or that Toronto will let down after two big high scoring wins, right?
Well, it's hard to let down in Boston. It's just, it's such a, TD Garden. I mean, it's not like the old barn, but it's a great place to play.
Yeah.
This isn't, Toronto can play average. The Boston we're going to talk about that Penguins Rangers game. The Rangers outshot the Penguins outshot the Rangers 39-16. Did it matter at all? No. It didn't matter because they're a shit hockey. The Penguins are a shit hockey team, and the Bruins are now a shit hockey team.
Okay, I'll take them -1 plus 105, Toronto.
You got it -1 plus 105. I only got 1 cent better. Action Jackson is backing the Boston Bruins. Good luck, Action Jackson. Let's roll on to Ducks Sabres.
Okay, yeah, Anaheim and Buffalo. This is a tough one. Anaheim picking up right where they left off, and I am betting them based on Jimmy's breakdowns, either as a big dog on the money lines or team totals or scoring the first or something. Boston, off of that huge 8-goal win against the Rangers, I did have them there because of the line. And Buffalo went into the break playing great at home. So I don't really feel comfortable fading them here with Anaheim. But once again, Anaheim is a huge, huge dog. So I guess once again, I'd be leaning Anaheim team total over. But I don't really want to fade Buffalo. So I don't know if I'd want to take Anaheim as a big dog.
Yeah, perfectly put. I do want to back Anaheim as much as possible, but I haven't been able to pull the trigger here. But I'm not saying that I won't be able to. This total opened up at 6 -114 to the over. It's now -112 to the over. A couple cent move. As you guys have noticed, I mean, now in NHL, I'm still comfortable with totals. I mean, trying to cut totals out of my action more and more, and it's working for me. As we're in this business for a long time, where do you think you have your edge? And more, I don't see how I can compete in totals. Whereas I love situational capping, psychological situational capping. So trying to focus on sides here. On the money line, we have the Ducks at +164. They opened up at +165. There hasn't been much movement. Got up to 170. I find the Ducks a very attractive hockey team here from a gambling perspective. Let's get into... Oh, we don't need any more of that. So, look, Anaheim's power play is a real problem. Look, Cronin's done some good things. He's a hard-ass coach. He's done some good things. He's made their young star forwards, Carlson, McTavish, Cutter Gauthier, and Trevor Zegras. Trevor Zegras is suspended for 3 games due to his hit on Michael Rasmussen, by the way. But they have young forwards who are playing defensively accountable. But it's Troy Terry, Frank Vetrano, Ryan Strome, and Alex Killorn that are playing excellent hockey, that are leading these guys forward. Steve G looking at Sabres money line. Anaheim power play. If Anaheim had a 20% power play, they'd be in the playoffs, especially with the open last spot in the Western Conference. Anaheim 11.9% power play, 73.6% penalty kill. We got Lucas Dostal in that 2.92 goals against average, 910 save percentage. Lokinen hasn't been very good. I think that he's got a really strong defense in front of him. I don't know why he's not being very good. The Ducks are on the final game of a 3-game road trip, but it's 3 games in 4 days. That's another thing, Pete. That's so hard. They defeated the Bruins 3-2 in overtime on Saturday. Then they fall 5-4 in overtime to Detroit on Sunday. I'd love to get there. The Sabres opened up their post-All-Star break with that impressive 8-2 victory at home over the Rangers on Saturday night. But Alex Tuch, he's going to be in the morning state this morning. He's going to try to play. He left Saturday's game with the Rangers. He's a hugely important winger to this team. 19 goals, 24 assists. He's a phenomenal on the shorthanded. Jordan Greenway would step up, and you don't want him as a top 6 forward. Jason Zucker had a maintenance day. He didn't practice. I expect him to be in the lineup. He's been rolling 5-game points, 2 goals, 6 assists, 6 hits, 3 block shots during that stretch. I want the Ducks. I just can't get there. Slatsy says Sabres 5-0 last 5 at home. Ducks 5-2 last 7 at Sabres and Buffalo. Thompson Point, Darlene assist parlay at +150. I just can't get there last game. I just too much travel, too much. I'd love to back the Ducks, but I'm gonna have to stay off, Pete.
Yeah, pass for me.
Let's roll on to Hurricanes Habitant.
Okay, let me see. Hold on, where was it? Hold on. Sorry, I got lost on my thing here. Sorry, my notes.
No worries.
Okay, so now we got Carolina, Montreal. Carolina off a big loss at Toronto. And in general, I've sort of had this sense about Carolina for a while now that they're an overvalued team. And I definitely, I don't know if I've bet on them at all. I've definitely been leaning towards fading them in most situations, especially when they're a big favorite. Montreal have a nice dog win at Ottawa. They do have some injuries, they're just not very good in general, I think. But Carolina seems overvalued, and I would definitely be leaning Montreal here as a big dog, but I didn't bet it.
Shout out to Andrew G. Shout out to Jermaine. Yes, no team needed to break more than the Habs. The young players not used to this kind of a grind. Hudson especially. They got the break. Now, I don't want to get too high off of that victory over just a completely disheveled Senators squad. Freddie Anderson in net for the Hurricanes. We watched Kochetkov in that first game back. He looked bad. Don't know if Freddie Anderson's the answer. Jermaine saying, are the Sunday shows are done? Yes. Yes. With no NFL, yes. But we do have the rotation, our new live stream. It's a late night show at 10 p.m. Eastern. It starts late night show from our sesh guys. By the way, our best bets went 6-1. 6-1. 7 cappers gave out best bets, and we went 6-1 on them on our new best bet morning Medicate Monday show. And there will be more live streams coming. Right now, the main focus for all of us is Pubapalooza. So I don't know if there'll be a new live stream from me before Pubapalooza at this point, but we'll be figuring it out. Okay, so back to the spot here. Sammy Montembeau is reported here, confirmed 19, 21, and 3, 2.97 goals against average, 8.97 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Billy Freeman said I can only bet Habs first period, if anything here. Montreal, 21.1% power play. Caulfield dangerous, Suzuki dangerous, Hudson. I mean, this is gonna be an elite power play at some point. Carolina power play 19.8%, penalty king 85%. Line history wise, these Habs are at plus 186. I think it's a really attractive number. In saying that, I can't get there. We have a very slight move towards the Hurricanes. As I've talked to you guys vocally about an issue I have fading the Hurricanes and the Stars, and it's just a vividness bias of those two hockey teams. And now I don't want to fade the Hurricanes after an embarrassing loss. So this was a pretty easy skip for me. Hurricanes opened their post-Four Nations with an ugly 6-3 loss to Toronto on Saturday night. Habs needed to break desperately, as I said. They opened up the second half with that. I talked about that. Gooley remains out for the Habs. Brendan Gallagher wasn't at practice yesterday for personal reasons. I don't know why or what it is, but he's been playing quite well of late. 4 goals and assists, 7 hits, block shot over the last 5 games. So I'm off of this spot here. I do find the Habs attractive at this price. As I said, I don't want to fade the Hurricanes off a loss. And I think that you have a shrewd look on the Hurricanes being a little overvalued at this point, especially with the weak goaltending and an aging defensive core that's much weaker than last year. Despite adding Rantanen to the lineup, I mean, is it that much of an ad when you lose Natchez? It's still an ad, but how much of it is it? Take it away, Pistol. Did you want to add anything to this game, or do we move on to the Battle of Pennsylvania?
I mean, I'll pass, but I would love to. The only reason I take Montreal is because they do have some personnel issues right now and injuries and stuff, right?
I don't find them too glaring. I mean, Gooley being out is a problem. Now, I don't understand. We don't know why Gallagher is not there. So if Kirby Dach and Michael Pezzetta are out, it's not that big of a loss. They're fine if he's out. They have Pezzetta's replacement. They brought him up here already. And who is it here? I don't have it here, but they brought up a replacement from the A, so it's not a big deal here. Sheesh Kebab looking at the Canes. I get it. I have to take them probably on the -1 line or use them as a parlay piece. But let's talk Battle Pennsylvania, Pete.
Okay, Pittsburgh and Philly. This one I also did not bet. I think it's going to be a pass. I would lean Pittsburgh as a dog, though. They're obviously not good. They're off of 2 home dog losses, giving up a lot of goals. I think I faded them both those. I don't remember, but they're obviously a bad team that is also overvalued at times. Now they're going against Philly, who rolled Edmonton as a big home dog in their first game back. I did have Philly in that one. I'm not lying. I had some other losses that I can't remember what they were, but I had Philly in that one. But now with Philly as a decent sized favorite here against Pittsburgh, pass for me, but I would replay. I'd put it on Pitt as a dog.
Obviously I believe in the Flyer squad. I think Kyle Dubas has, just how they keep getting jobs. Trey Living screws over the Flames, gets a job in Toronto. Dubas screws over the Leafs, gets a job in Pittsburgh. Heard he's getting paid $7 million, which is dumb. It's shocking if he's getting. That's what Subban stated, that he's getting paid. I like that Subban called out Dubas for the terrible, terrible decision making that he's done, ruining the end of Crosby and Malkin's careers. Look, I have to fade the Penguins. I have to fade them over and over and over and over again. I can't stop myself. They're a very poor hockey team. They outshoot the Rangers 39-16, and they lose badly. Now, Brian Rust will be back in the lineup. He was not taken off of injured reserve, right? He had the lower body injury. He's healed from that, but then he got sick, so expect him in the lineup. Grizzlies is sustained an injury on a Matt Rempe hit. I don't know if he will be back here. The Philly Flyers are completely healthy. This line's moved against me, and I don't care. And these guys play again here, right? They play again in 2 nights, don't they? Isn't this home and home between these two teams? I almost never fade a team back to back, but this is a perfect situation for me. I think the Flyers win this hockey game. If they lose, I bet the Flyers in Pittsburgh on Thursday. And if the Flyers win, I bet the Flyers on Thursday in Pittsburgh. I just look, you have to put your foot on the throat of a moose that you just smashed into your car. This fucked up moose is the Pittsburgh Penguins. A terrible analogy. Nedeljkovic, 12-10-5, 3.06 goals against average, 8.95 save percentage, 1 shutout. Urson, 17-10-3, 2.81 goals against average, 8.94 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Pittsburgh power play, 24.7%. It's been much stronger this year than it was last year, and we'll see that from Nashville next year. Right? It takes a year to kind of get comfortable for whatever reason on the special teams. Rocky Thompson's over there in Philly trying to fix his power play, and it's improving. Connecting is an off. The Flyers are an off-the-rush hockey team, which sucks. And if Michkov and can get some more confidence on the half wall, they could be a very, very good hockey team, I believe, because they're elite off the rush. They're top 3 in the NHL off the rush, and they're elite 5-on-5. And that's why I keep telling you guys that we have to keep betting the Flyers, and I keep betting them. So Penguins have allowed 13 goals in 2 games post 4 Nations. What are they going to do here? They're going to fall apart. They're going to trade every piece they have and move on to next season. It's so sad that they're doing this while Crosby's 37, playing his heart out. They outshot the Rangers 39-16. Doesn't matter. They lose 8-3 at home to the Capitals on Saturday. Then they lose 5-3 to the Rangers at home on Sunday. So Rust is going to play. So Beauvillier, won't be a top 6 forward. Beauvillier shouldn't be a top 6 forward at any team in the NHL. Flyers opened up their post 4 Nations with an impressive 6-3 win at home over the Oilers on Saturday night. Philly's a healthy group. This total here, as I said, 5.5. It opened up at 5.5, quickly went up to 6. Now it's back at 5.5. I don't want to be involved. And then on the money line, I took them on the -1 line. I got plus 117. This line's moving heavily against me. I mean, we're talking heavily against me. Wow. Just heavily against me. And when I moved on Philly, when I moved on them, I thought the line was going to continue to move towards Philadelphia. And the market's been strong with the Penguins. I imagine that the Penguins are very live here, and the market's telling you that they're very live. But I'm on the Flyers on -1 line. Look, the line went against me very uncomfortably yesterday in the Kings Knights game, and it's doing it here, and I'll have to deal with it. What are your thoughts, Pete?
The Penguins are a bad team that I am always looking to fade, and I've been successful doing that. I didn't bet this, so pass for me. We'll see how it turns out.
Those are the only 2 bets I've come in with. Again, 5-0 plus 7 units post 4 Nations. So those are the only 2 bets I've come in with. Let's see what we had. We're going to get into Flames, Capitals, but I want to give a shout out to our guy, Fat Wally, we get to hang out with here shortly in San Antonio. He's given us the winners of the last 2 NASCAR races here in our chat. He shares them with Racing with Razor on YouTube and also here. Great work, Wally. We love you, man. And Billy says, I thought your NHL bets this season are strong when the line moves against you. They are better than when the line moves with me. But that doesn't take away my fear or concern. But you're right. I have a better ROI when the line moves against me than when it moves with me. Take it away, Pete. Let's set up Flames Capitals.
Yeah, okay, so I guess I'm a little bit surprised you didn't at least consider making this one of your bets. Calgary against Washington. Calgary snuck by San Jose, right, as a huge fave in their first game back, and generally just seemed not very good. Washington, 2 huge wins in their return. Now, how awesome are they? I'm not exactly sure, but they're going up against a weak team here, so I'm not expecting another offensive explosion from Washington. But given 3 periods, I'm expecting them to come out ahead. I don't know, 4-2. 3-1, 4-1, 3-2, something like that. It's a big favorite line, but I did bet Washington -1. Why do you not think that is an obvious thing to do? I mean, a good thing to do.
Look, I'm drooling to fade the Capitals in the first round of the playoffs. They've not had any hardships. They're far and away the best team in the league. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Obviously, it's cost me a lot of money. And Barry Smith says upset of the Flames money line. Look, I do not. Look, Carberry's been spectacular. He's going to win the Jack Adams Trophy. He deserves it. Logan Thompson's been unbelievable. 2.25 goals against average, 920 save percentage. Ovechkin's playing out of his mind. He's got his highest goals per game, tied for his highest in his NHL career. But I don't think that they're that good. Now, sure, they are the best team in the NHL, wins, losses. There's 15 teams I would take over them in the series. And I'm not exaggerating. Look, I'm not going to keep banging my head against the wall if when I bang my head against the wall it starts bleeding. So I'm not going to fade the Capitals here. There's been a big, a legit move to Calgary, which I respect. And I'll get that. Get that, Barry. I'll get that, Barry. Here we go. But I like that Barry's fading them. Ricky Bobby, my 2 bets are the Leafs -1 and the Flyers -1. Look, Wolf's been amazing. 2011-3. No, he's not. Sorry. Let me take that back. He's got an issue like a lot of these young goaltenders where you can't play him too much, and he's been getting played too much. 2.62 goals against average, 913 save percentage. He's been good. Billy Friedrich says Caps versus Rangers first round could be big trouble for the Caps. I've heard a ton of executives over the last 2-3 weeks just listening to the radio who don't want to face the Rangers, don't want to face Shesterkin in the first round of playoffs, even though the Rangers certainly look susceptible to me. I probably, if the Rangers play the Capitals, I don't know if I don't think I bet the Rangers. They look so much less than the sum of their parts, whereas the Capitals look so much more. I'm off this spot. Capitals scored 15 goals in their first 2 games post 4 Nations. They beat the Penguins 8-3 in Pittsburgh on Saturday and beat Edmonton 7-3 at home on Sunday. I mean, they're absolute monsters. Absolute monsters. I'm not moving on this one, but let's stop everything here because there's more important things than capping at times. And our guy, Von Polo, who's had our back, you and I, Pete, since I started with you. He says, sorry I'm late to the chat, guys. Hope you guys all have fun in San Antonio. Unfortunately, my grandmother has been diagnosed with cancer, so I'm having a terrible week. Hopefully you guys come to AC soon. Von Paulo, I'm so sorry that you have to go through that, especially with someone who's such a, the patriarch of the family and leading you. I'm so sorry. And nothing that I can say will make it any easier. But we love you, man, and love capping with you. And thank you for always having our back. And I hope we can do the same for you when you're down. So sorry. So sorry. You got to feel the pain and the sadness of all this, but stand by her and lead your family through these tough times as you've done in the past. And thank God your family has your strong shoulders to get through this stuff. And sorry you have to go through it, Von Polo. Thinking of you. And there's our guy, T-Moss, who knows exactly what you're going through. There's so many cappers in the chat dealing with the parents or grandparents sick. So thinking of you, Von Polo. I'm off this Flames Capital spot. And look, I'm jaded. I'm jaded with the Capitals, Pete. I'm jaded. I've been so wrong. And I still feel like I'm not, that I can take advantage of this marketplace, but not here. What do you think, Pete?
All right, I'll take a shot with it. -1, -123. Also, I got +108 on the Toronto game. So +108 and Washington -1, -123. It's just, Yeah, it is obviously they're not going to keep scoring 8 goals a game, but they are legit. And they're. I agree with your take on them, or I believe and trust your take on them being overvalued. Look to fade them in the playoffs, maybe in spots later on this year. But right now, they are still very good, and Calgary is just pretty ass. So I don't think it's going to be a 6-goal win again, but I think it's worth a bet. So I'll take it. -1, -123. 4-2. 4-2 is my prediction.
Yeah, I get it. And look up Alexius Protas. I mean, what a monster! 6'6" monster. Put him in every situation. McMichael playing out of his mind. Connor playing out of his mind. You have 420 goal scorers. Carberry did an incredible job. What can I say? Mal with you. Let's roll on, Pete. Let's head into our next spot on the board, which is Stars Jackets.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Columbus blew out Chicago in their first game back. I think I had Chicago like team total over or something like that. I think they cashed, or I think I had the first period, which cashed the total, and then they didn't get full game. I don't remember. But Columbus, obviously a pretty impressive team in general. Good character. They've been very good at home, of course. But Dallas, 2 nice road wins coming back from the break. They're hard to fade right now. So Columbus getting a big dog line here. I'm not exactly sure what to make of this. No, free play. Without hearing what you have to say, I'd throw it on Columbus as this big of a dog, but it's hard to fade Dallas right now. I haven't bet this one.
It's so hard to fade Dallas. Maybe this is the spot though. Shout out to Don Waddell. What a job he's done. What an incredible shout out to the whole Columbus Blue Jacket franchise. I mean, to go through the offseason that they did, and then step up the way they have. Now you have Boone Jenner coming back to the lineup. Remember, they have this outdoor game March 1st, Buckeye Stadium, Ohio State Stadium. So they have Marchenko coming back from the broken jaw. He was supposed to be out for another 3 weeks, but he came back. And now you have, so there's a couple things. Look, and I'm going to go more into it here with some other teams, but the LTIR, long-term injury reserve, we know that get your futures in on the Stars as soon as you can, because I think you're still getting the same line I got, 10-1 and 5-1, 10-1 to win it all, 5-1 in the West. I didn't want any other team than the Oilers in the West, but they're going to have all of this money. The problem is now Vegas and Florida will too. Vegas going to do it again. They've already said it. Shea Theodore is going to be out for the rest of the regular season. They have a $7 million contract prorated. They're going to be buyers. Matthew Tkachuk going to sit out and wait for the playoffs to start. That's an enormous amount of money for the Panthers. It's not fair. They got to change this LTR bullshit. But here, Heiskanen saying out. They opened so they finish up their 3 games in 4 nights. I think this is probably the spot to fade them. They open it with the 4-2 win at the Devils on Saturday. Then they win at Long Island 4-3 on Sunday. You have this Jackets team believing in themselves. Now, Kevin LeBanc and Owen Sillinger are done for the season, and they still don't have Monahan and Chinnikov. But what a job that they've done. 1 point out of a playoff spot here. Just absolutely rolling. Steve G, God, if the Caps got to play like the Tampa Bay Lightning, I would open up. I'd have at least a K minimum on the series against them. I don't. But I'm high on the Lightning here. The Lightning are still plus 425 to win the division. That's exactly what they got at the beginning of the season, and I think they're going to win the division. Now they got a tough game tonight. Maybe this is the spot, Pete. I think this is probably the spot. How is Dallas not tired? Columbus just continually playing over their head. This line's moved 2 cents. I mean, it's just maybe this is the spot. Maybe it's the Jackets here. But the problem is that forward group is so dangerous for Dallas, and Robertson coming off the Hattie, Wyatt Johnson playing out of his mind. I mean, they're doing all of this, without Rupee doing too much. I'm interested. I'm interested in the Jackets, Pete. Anything you like here?
No, but you know what I'm thinking? What about Columbus +2 at some ridiculous big favorite line, baby? Yeah,
I don't. Those spots they don't appeal to me. I think you take the Jackets to go win this hockey game. Billy Freeman saying Harley's been hot too. He's been excellent. Look, what a coming of age in the Four Nations for the 23-year-old. I think you go for the score. Mallon Stars money line. You know what? How are the Stars not tired here? Third game in 4 nights, all with travel. Now, not much travel with Dallas. Maybe I should pump the brakes on the travel with, New Jersey and Long Island. I think it's important to pump the brakes here. That's an important brake pumping. Look, I guess I might stay off, but Jackets are nothing for me without a doubt.
Yeah, pass for me.
Let's roll on to Oilers Lightning.
Okay, well, Edmonton 2 blowout losses since returning, and Tampa Bay, they got a nice win over Seattle in their first game back. Seattle's pretty weak, so I don't know what we take from that. Tampa Bay was playing pretty well before the break, so I don't know. My sense would be lean Tampa Bay, but at some point Edmonton's going to get a lot better. I'm not sure this is a good spot for them. What's going on with Edmonton, Jim? You follow this a lot more closely than I do, and more in depth than I do. Why is Edmonton off 2 blowout losses?
It's it's a long season, and McDavid's exhausted. It was a really tough spot to open with the matinee. Then they lose at Washington on Sunday. Timos, my man, we're all thinking of you. That's the most important thing. Barry Smith also looking at the Jackets money line. That may give me the confidence to move forward here. And Nutplus Allen says if Columbus wins, team totals a must-it. Maybe that's the way to bet it. But shout out to our guy Gorky in the house. Great to see you, Gorky, my man. Thank you so much for the dono, blessing our action here. Satsi says Tampa 10-1 last 11 versus Oilers in Tampa. And Vladar confirmed in net for Calgary. That's not good for Flames backers. But here, Cooper, Cirelli, Hagel, and Point are going to continue the upward trajectory from the Four Nations. Now, I know Cooper's a coach, but this Lightning team is going to win the Atlantic Division. They're plus 425 right now. Get on them as soon as possible. Panthers not going to have Kachuk, and the Leafs are one defensive injury to Tanev away from not being able to win many hockey games. They just don't have the depth on defense. They're going to want to rest Matthews down the stretch. The Lightning are going to win the Atlantic Division. They're going to pay me on the over point total and the 425. That's available right now. I am hesitant to fade the Oilers off these 2 ugly games. And this is their 3rd game in 4 days, but this Lightning is going to keep rolling. And Barry Smith saying Vladar and I'm off Calgary. I get that, Barry. The Lightning beat Seattle 4-1 at home on Sunday. These guys, this Lightning team, they're not going to be able to make too many additions here at the deadline, but they're a really good hockey team. They're going to be a force to knock out in the playoffs. I just can't fade the Oilers off of these 2 losses, and that keeps me off the game, unfortunately. This total is a 6.5. It's minus 120 to the over. This opened up at 6, moved to 6.5. It's just flying towards the over. On the money line here, we have Tampa minus 108. They opened up at minus 109. I can't do it. Billy Freeman saying it's plus 440 to win the division at Caesars right now. I'm telling you, it's a great bet, Billy. Like I'm sitting so confident in my spot here. I can't fade the Oilers in this situation, Pete. I can't do it. But I mean, is McDavid going to be any healthier? I mean, he's exhausted, this man. But I can't fade the Oilers off. But I think the Lightning win. Can I dig the courage to fade the Oilers off of 2 losses? I don't know if I can, Pete. I don't know if I can.
Well, it didn't even occur to me, the Columbus team total. I don't know why, because usually that's the first thing I think about, but I'll make that official. Columbus Jackets, team total over, 2.5, minus 120. Huge shout out to Nutflush Allen. Thanks for keeping my head in the game.
That is a great look.
I need a betting coach to pull me off to the side once in a while and say, Pete, team totals, you're forgetting about your bread and butter. And I'll go, yeah. And then I go back to my computer and hit a couple of team totals. Absolutely. Shout out to Nutflush Allen.
Let's roll on to the Battle of NYC, Pete.
Okay, well, this is a tough one. Again, Rangers lost their first game, and I was on Buffalo in that one. Then they bounced back at Pittsburgh. I was definitely on that one. In fact, I think I was going to text you about it or something. I was all over the Rangers against Pittsburgh in their last game. Islanders lost their first game back to tough Dallas, though. Give them a pass on that. It seems like the Islanders in general are in a better way right now. I think maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the Rangers long term have a better, much better roster. But right now, the Islanders are in a better situation, and I would be leaning Islanders here.
Well, the Islanders have been dealing with these injuries, and now Noah Dobson back wearing a regular jersey, so he's back. He missed 9 games. He's having a not a very strong season, but he's very, very talented defenseman. Now, look, Lamoriello did a pretty good job, bringing in D'Angelo, getting Prunovich from the Blues, but they're little defensemen. So now you have Pulock healthy. You have Noah Dobson back. This is Barzal is out, which is bad. They're still missing Mike Riley, and Matt Martin is, helps if you want to punch somebody in the face and for some leadership, but they're getting healthier. An interesting thing here for you guys just to keep in mind is, and something I don't talk about enough, the Islanders are the number 1 face-off team in the league. So they're getting Dobson back. They have Pulock and Pelech. They're the best face-off team in the league. Second best face-off team is the Rangers, and that's only going to go up now with JT Miller there. So these are the best 2 face-off teams in the league. It's important to know who, you want to know when you're going up against a weak face-off team. Number 3 are the Leafs at 52.9%. When we get to the worst, the Anaheim Ducks are by far the worst face-off team in the league. I mean, it just crushes them. They're 43.8%. Now, tonight they're going up against the Sabres, who are a weak face-off team, so it won't hurt them as much. But the teams that have been getting crushed on the face-off, the Colorado Avalanche, and it seems like we say this year after year. I mean, they're just, it's if you're only winning 45% of the draws, it hurts you. Wild, 46.9% of the draws. So it's just kind of an important thing to keep in mind here. I don't want anything to do with the Rangers now. I've not liked what I've seen coming in off the break. They lose 8-2 at Buffalo on Saturday. They defeat the Penguins 5-3 at Pittsburgh on Sunday. It was as underwhelming a performance as you'll find, getting outshot 39-16. Now, Kreider out with the upper body injury. He was in the warm-ups, so it looks like he should be back. And Jimmy Vesey looked pretty good. He's a generally healthy scratch as his replacement here. Shesterkin versus Sorokin. When these Russian goaltenders play each other, they step up. They just step up. My guy Dutch Boy Fresh in the house. As with you guys, man. Love seeing the group crush it yesterday on our brand new. They crushed on both the early and the live, but we went 6-1 on our new Best Bets Medicaid Monday show. And then the guys were cashing live here. So my instinct would be an under. Right now, the Rangers have gone from -106 to -114. I really want to watch them again. I felt like I was getting a better feel for them before the 4-8. Like I was watching all their games, and here we have a 6. It's -110 to the under. It opened up at 5.5 and immediately went to 6. And it's just sitting there. It's kind of momentum towards the over. And the Rangers haven't been playing, but it always happens when these Russian goaltenders play each other. They step up. So I guess I'm interested in the under, I guess. I mean, I think this is going to have a playoff type feel, and I'm on New York. But I can't back the Rangers here, Pete, after what I'm watching. Like, they just look so disjointed. And Zibanejad looks bad. I thought Lafreniere was taking the next step as the number 1 overall pick. That stopped. I don't know. I don't know what to do with them. And I'm also hesitant with the under, but I feel like Shesty's got to step up. When you hear the executives talk about not wanting to play Rangers in the playoffs, it's all about, well, they don't want to go up against Shesty. But look, he's got 903 save percentage because of the weak defenseman in front of him. I don't know, Pete. What are your thoughts here?
Leaning Islanders, but I guess I'll pass. Because,
yeah, I get why you'd be leaning the Islanders. Getting healthier. The Rangers look so disjointed. God, I'm going to look a little closer at the Islanders. As you guys know, those of you who kept me for so long, when I'm running hot like this, I become a little more pensive and a little more choosy. I'm interested in the under 6. I'm interested in the Islanders. I think the Islanders probably take care of business in this game, despite no Barzal and the weakness at center. Rangers are a very uncomfortable team to fade. As you see, they took 16 shots and scored 5 goals against the Penguins. I don't know, Pete. That's a tough one. Let's roll on the Kraken Blues.
All right. Well, this one I did bet. Might have been a mistake. You tell me, Jim. I did take St. Louis here. Seattle, of course, got a nice dog win on their first game back. Then they went into Tampa Bay and lost. So my sense on Seattle is that, they have some nice parts. They can be a good bet at times, but they're also a beatable team. St. Louis, beat Colorado as a decent-sized home dog in their last game. And they seem like a team that has some life to them, some purpose, some intensity to them. So I'm happy to bet them in spots. I did take them against Colorado, and I'm going to take them here again against Seattle, although I'm a little bit worried that Seattle might be a similar team to St. Louis. I don't like to fade those kinds of teams as a dog, but I bet Seattle. You tell me if you think that was a mistake. I bet St. Louis. You tell me if you think that was a mistake.
No, I don't think that was a mistake, but I had Seattle queued up. And then I got cold feet and didn't bet it. But my initial thought, and it was because I started really looking closer at those games, because I didn't watch their win over the Avalanche, but I was following along. Those are impressive performances from St. Louis off the break. Oh, no surprise. Monty gets the best out of players. This total's at 5.5, and it's juiced to the under. Interesting, a 3-cent move towards the under. Binnington expected to step up after the phenomenal performance, especially in overtime in the Four Nations. And then Decord, just a good goalie. 9.17 save percentage, or 0.917, excuse me. We have Seattle right now plus 128. This line was moving to, it had dropped down to, opened up plus 124, went down to plus 118. When I was going to move on it was plus 122. I didn't. It's now at plus 128 here. Both special teams similar. Seattle better penalty killing. We got the prime cut in the house. Shout out to our guy, the Sweaty Butcher. Can't wait to rock with him. Perfect guy for us to rock with. Pub Palooza. Kraken played their third game in 4 nights post Four Nations. Open with the 2-1 win at Florida. Disheveled Florida group. Lose 4-1 at Tampa because Tampa's much better than them. They're getting healthier. Just Yanni Gourde out of the lineup. Blues are also playing their third game in 4 nights, but all 3 games have come at home. Much easier. They lost to Winnipeg 4-3 in the shootout on Saturday, then followed it up with a 3-1 win at home over Colorado on Sunday. Maybe I should do the full flip. This is tough for the Kraken. The travel's not bad between Florida and Tampa, but St. Louis just sitting at home. Maybe I should do a full flip and join you with the Blues. Those are 2 impressive performances. Maybe it is a Blues -1 line. Blues keep rolling. Yeah, Billy, too bad for the Wings with cop out. But now Eric's neck out. We'll talk about that in a second. Maybe I should join you, Pete. Maybe I should do the full flip here. I don't know why I'm not sure why I was high on fading the Blues. Of course, Binner's going to come in with that gold medal around his neck and step up here. Maybe I should do the full flip, Pete. You've got me thinking about it. I'm very interested in the Blues now. But
St. Louis is coming off of a, yay, we did it win over a good team. So that's not a great spot to bet on them again, unless they're an elite team, which they're not. So, but I'll take. That
shootout loss to Winnipeg was impressive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take them. If it loses, all right, -1 plus 122 St. Louis. Take a shot with it. Sure.
I'm interested in doing the full flip. Billy says, I wish Binnington would step up for his NHL team as much as he did for his home country. You know what? He only steps up in the most important games ever. His Game 7 record, his elimination game record is spectacular.
But that's not good to hear, because this home game against Seattle is not close to being the most important game ever.
But I think he should carry on the momentum. He's had a bad season. He came in, so he's got an 898 save percentage. He had an 892 save percentage coming into the Four Nations. So, but I'm interested in joining you, Pete. So Loshak on the Blues -1 at plus 122. That I'd be comfortable adding that to my action. The under 6 in the Islanders makes me nervous. Lightning makes me nervous. Jackets make me nervous. I think the Jackets are the bet, though. Let's roll on the Redmonds. Oh, sorry, my man.
Let me be your betting coach then now. Team total. So if they lose 4-3, all right, you cash it anyway. If they win 2-1, all right. Okay.
The Kraken are, as Slotsy said, 4 last 5 games have gone under. The Kraken, offensively put no fear in me whatsoever. So I would be concerned of a Blues winning a low-scoring game.
No, I was talking about Columbus for the team total.
Oh shit! My bad. You're right. No, I'm interested in that. I'm interested in joining you. I'll be making additions now. I think that you guys have helped me out a lot here. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board, Pete, because we got college basketball to get into.
Okay, Florida, Nashville. This is another one I bet. I guess I would like to see why you didn't bet it. What the argument is? Florida, of course, off of that big home fave loss to Seattle, and Nashville off a shutout home loss. They are just kind of a crappy team, and there was a lot of hype to Florida to start the year. When they started off the year kind of crappy, I was like taking a wait and see approach. But then very quickly after that, I was like, no, this is just a shitty ass team until further notice. Further notice has not yet come. So, I bet Florida -1. I don't know why you might think that if it loses, okay. But at the line, I got plus money at Florida -1. Nashville pulls out a win, good for them. But I don't know why was that not a bet you've already made, Jim?
I just can't fade a team after an embarrassing 5-0 loss at home. You're sitting at home, and in come the Panthers without Tkachuk.
Yeah, but this is a team. You think that Nashville has any kind of like personal or team pride at the moment?
Oh no, you're absolutely right to question that, and I don't have the answer there, but this Tkachuk, the Panthers getting all this money now with this LTIR scam. It's ridiculous. The article that came out saying that Tkachuk may be done for the season is absolute trash and ridiculous. Eetu Luostarinen, who's an important player, he's not been very good of late, but he's awaiting the birth of his child, so he's out as well. Nashville plays their third game in 4 nights, but all at home. And Panthers opened up their post-All-Star break with that 2-1 loss at home to the Kraken on Saturday. Obviously, you get Reinhart, back with a little tiny bit of rest, which you obviously needed so badly. I just, I'm honestly, I'm very interested in whether the Panthers will be a fun fade. Now I have a legit bet on the Lightning to win the division at +425. So do I need to move? I don't know if I do. There's been a 7-cent move towards the Panthers, which is all well and good, but look, Tkachuk is every team's player of their wildest dreams. I mean, he's cocky, he's brash. It's a huge loss not having him in the lineup. So
you're saying that psychologically it's a terrible spot for the Panthers in general?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's a much better spot than it was. No, I like where you're at. I can't move on. I don't want to fade Nashville off the 5-0 loss, but no, this is a much better spot than their first game. I could see them back, ready to roll. I don't want them in this spot here. Nashville does have some injuries, which aren't too bad, but Zachary Leroux is really a good young player. He's out, and then they're going to have Lausanne out for the rest of the season, a defenseman. But Robert Franklin got first period over 1.5. Picks from Dave says thinking about the first period over. Yeah, I'm off this spot.
I'll make it official. Florida -1 +106.
Loshak on the Panthers -1 +106. All right, let's roll on. Red Wings, Minnesota. This is a fascinating spot.
Oh yes, this one. Detroit is down a couple of centers, right? I actually didn't look into this one too deeply because I wanted to get some time to look into how much that would affect them more, and I didn't have time to do it. So I actually don't have anything to say about this one analysis-wise, but I really want to hear what your breakdown is.
Well, Eriksson Ek now being out is just a monstrous loss. We already know they don't have Kaprizov. Now the Red Wings lose Kopp, who's been very helpful, 23 points in 56 games. Rasmussen is also going to be unavailable. He got the hit from Zegras, and Jeff Petrie remains out of the lineup. I shot to Gorky in the house. Gorky, New Mexico money line at +100. Let's get that copied and pasted. Thank you for sharing that with us, Gorky. We'll talk about that here in our college basketball slate. That copied and pasted here. All right, so yes, let's roll into this spot. So these teams just met in that wild 4-3 overtime win at Detroit on Saturday. The Wings had to host the Ducks the following night, defeated them 5-4 in overtime. The Detroit Red Wings power play right now, as we speak, is the best in the National Hockey League. It's just so good. And then you have the weakest penalty killing. So why are we not betting overs in every single game that the Detroit Red Wings play from now on? I don't have the answer there, but I was been thinking about it a lot. This is a 5.5, just because what? Because the familiarity breeds contempt because they just played each other. I mean, why would it be a 5.5? Makes no sense to me that this would be a 5.5. Now I know Minnesota plays defensive hockey, but how do they play defensive hockey? Well, it's because Joel Eriksson-Ek is out there. I mean, so now there has been times I've said that I thought Brock Faber was more important than Kaprizov. Now maybe is not true. Maybe that's arguable. But did you see what Brock Faber played in his first game after the Four Nations? 30 minutes. Played 30 minutes in his first game. I mean, the guy's just an absolute monster. Let's just look at the Wild here, the Wild line combinations, because we know that Hartman's out. So now you have Hartman out with the suspension. So you got Marco Rossi, Matt Boldy, and Matt Zuccarello. That's a good first line. You have Eriksson-Ek now hurt. I mean, that's just a crazy thing that our guy Slatsy told us about. So if you're not going to have Eriksson-Ek winning faceoffs, you're not going to have Kopp. I mean, you take Eriksson-Ek and Kopp. Are they the two best defensive players in this hockey game? I mean, how does this game not go over? Any game the Red Wings play should go over. What do you think here, Pete? I
didn't look into too much into this one, so I'm going to pass. It's definitely an interesting one, though.
How does this game not go over the total? I'm going to have to study it more here. And this Eriksson-Ek injury is shocking. Serious injury in practice. I mean, they lose him, they're screwed. Wager Tech says Red Wings 0-7 last 7 at the Wild. Now, yes, I mean, do the Wild step up with the injury? Now, the Red Wings are going to win that hockey game. God, Eriksson-Ek is such a big loss. How do they step up without Hartman, Eriksson-Ek? Now, I guess, we just talked about it. The Boldy, Rossi, what is season he's having? With Zuccarello, I mean, that's a talented first line. There's got to be goals in this hockey game. Detroit's gone from plus 118 to plus 102. I mean, I guess we have to look past the fact that the Red Wings have played. Maybe it should just be a Red Wings team total over, but God, they're so bad. There's going to be power play goals in this hockey game. I think this has got to be over and the Red Wings. Now, is this a situation where the team will step up in their first game without their key player, but they're missing 3 of them? The over in the Red Wings have become extremely appealing. This Eriksson-Ek news is new to me, so I kind of need to sit with it a little bit longer, but I expect to be on the over in the Red Wings as soon as the show's over. You want to add anything here, or should we jump in to
let's move on.
Andrew G, I just read it. Look, they said it's a serious lower body injury, so let's roll into Blackhawks, Utah.
All right, well, Utah's a huge fave here. Chicago, of course, off of 2 blowout losses, which is understandable. They're a very bad hockey team, but now they're getting a huge dog line against Utah. They're off a close win over Vancouver. They didn't blow them out, and one way or another, I'm thinking maybe Chicago is worth a shot. Maybe first period, maybe to score in the first period, maybe plus 2 or plus 3.5 at minus 1,000 or whatever. I don't know. Feels like Utah is way too big of a favorite here.
I thought the exact same thing. I don't know if I have the balls to bet the Blackhawks. If I
wish
do,
I could
how
get
would
plus
I bet
4.5 at minus 5,000.
Do I cut it down to a period and take the Blackhawks first period? Both teams are playing their third game in 4 nights. Blackhawks opened their post-Four Nations with a 5-1 loss at Columbus on Saturday. Followed that with a 5-2 loss at home to the Leafs on Sunday. And Jason Dickinson's on the IR. If you listen to them, he's a huge piece because he wins face-offs. He plays short-handed. Utah lost 5-3 at home on Saturday and then defeated the Canucks 2-1 at home on Sunday. The one thing for me is that Sean Durzee's back. They still have Bertuzzo out, but having Durzi added to their defense is so big. It's so big. Spooner, I don't know. It was not as easy as I was hoping it would be. But this is a crazy line for Utah. Makes no sense. Minus 239 now, minus 254. Again, though, with Dursey being back, I mean, are the Blackhawks going to be ready to roll? Special teams is a wash. Both teams have weak goaltending. You could say Mrazek's better than Ingram. It's Billy Friedrich says third game in 4 days for Chicago, and this is at altitude. Yeah, I would love that. If I was giving out picks, maybe I'd give out Blackhawks first period. But we're giving out bets, and I just don't think I can bet the Blackhawks here in any way, shape, or form. In fact, with Dursey coming back, and now they have Gunther healthy and ready to go, that maybe Utah is a bet on hockey team now. Maybe this will have to be their, and Cooley back. I'm off of this one. I'm off of this one, but I would have some interest in the Blackhawks first period, but I'm off, Pete. Anything you want to add here? Do we roll in the review and roll in the college basketball?
That's it for me.
Okay, let's review NHL. By the way, Viper MB is on the Stars -1, Capitals -1, Hurricanes -1 in the National Hockey League. We have our guy. Oh, and Slatsy says Tyler Seguin resumes skating. Wonder how this is going to affect Stars cap move. Maybe they think they just need him back because they're already going to get the money with Heiskanen. But there's only 25 games left. Seguin's an old man. I'd be curious to see how they handle this too. Ronnie Lawson says Dursey played a solid game for just getting back. Okay, so Loshak and I are both on the Toronto Maple Leafs -1. I got +106. He got +108. I have some interest in the Ducks, but I'm just going to leave that away, leave that off at this point. I really want to watch that hockey game. Hurricanes, Habs, we stayed off. I'm on the Flyers -1 to +117. This line's moved quite heavily against me. Loshak's on the Caps -1 to -123. I have some interest in the Jackets. Maybe I just follow the squad and take that team total over here. So Jackets team total over 2.5. Not Flush Allen, Pete Loshak look. Maybe that's what I do as well. Then I've got question marks around the Lightning. I should stay off here. I have some interest in the Rangers Islanders under 6. I have some interest in the Islanders. I don't know if I get to either of those. Loshak on the Blues -1 to +122. I had the Kraken queued up. And maybe I pulled a full switch now that I've had a chance to sleep on it and study it and join Peter. Peter's also on the Panthers -1 to +106. I want to bet the Red Wings and the over. And Blackhawks, Utah, I'm off. That is our NHL for today, Tuesday, February 25th. Let's roll into college basketball. Peter, also Needles is confirmed. Thank you for sharing that with us here from Billy Friedrich. Let's get into college basketball. So we have 14 games that I sent to Pete. Again, we can't cap them all, even though I did look at every single one of them and spent time with them, whether I was going to move on them, of course. So some stayed off the shelf for me. I'm going to go over all of them again after the show. These 14 games were games that I wanted to bet. I moved on 3 of them. I did have a 4th queued up, but I pulled it with a late move. So let's talk about these spots, Pete. I am going to set them up, though, for you, as you are the expert college basketball capper, of course, banned from our old jobs college basketball contests because of your impressive skill set. Let's get to work here, Pete. So we get started here with the Duke-Miami game, and this one I have bet. I have bet this one at the Wasco Center in Coral Gables, Florida. Duke 24-3, 15-1 in the ACC. Hurricanes is 6-21, 2-14 in the ACC. We saw this move towards Miami. It opened up, depending on where you shop. If you look at where this opened up in the afternoon, it opened up at 21. But at 7:51 p.m., the offshores that I focus on opened it at 23. It moved to 22. Now we're back at 22.5, but it's heavily juiced to the Hurricanes, so it basically is a 22. Now I bet the Hurricanes first half plus 13.5 -110 at bet 365. This was never a 13.5 offshore. This opened up at 13 plus 13 -108. It's now plus 13 -109. It was never a 13.5. Even at when we go to where we used to play poker, they did open it up at 13.5, and they quickly moved it to 13. Now it's just -105 now. But I moved on the 13.5 here. So let's get into the cash flow, as we'll have cash flow for this game. Here, let me move it over here. Let me get this, refresh this, see if we can get it for. Okay, now we got it for all the games. Beautiful, all the early games. For this Duke spot, we have. Why is it not logging me in? Sorry, let me just log in. It's not good. Okay, we go. I'm in. We have 61% of the tickets and 95% of the cash on Duke. This line's not moving towards them. So, I just think it could be a lazy spot. I think it could be a lazy spot. I'm betting that it's going to be a lazy spot. Let's just quickly touch on a couple things here before we hand it over to Pete. The Blue Devils have won 4 straight. They just annihilated Illinois. Annihilated. Beat them by 43 points. Miami's lost 3 straight, but they're playing better basketball. The loss to Virginia Tech, not the best spot, but I thought when they went to Louisville and lost by 10, that was impressive. They came back and beat Syracuse 91-84. I've been making money off of them. I think they can keep this within 13 or so. Morgan saying Miami's leading scorer missed their last game, believing he is a game-time decision. It did hurt them versus Virginia Tech. I think this is a possible spot where the Duke Blue Devils overlook the Hurricanes. And I'm on the Hurricanes first half plus 13 half minus 110. Pete, take it away. ACC action in Coral Gables. Hurricanes hosting the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I didn't bet this one, but I would definitely be leaning Miami. Not really first half though, just kind of a full game because Duke is one of those teams. They could win the first half by 20, and then the second half is just a coin flip. So, but yeah, if it weren't for that news from the Miami leading scorer, I probably would have bet it. I haven't bet this one yet. Leaning Miami full game, but didn't bet it.
Let's move on to the next spot on the board. Another big one, but we head over to the ACC, Athens, Georgia, home of the Georgia Bulldogs, 16-11, 4-10 in conference. Facing the Florida Gators, 24-3, 11-3 in conference. You look, the Gators are rolling, and the Bulldogs aren't. They played Mississippi State tough at home, losing 76-75. They lose badly at Texas A&M. And then, Missouri's a really good basketball team. So losing 87-74 home is not that bad. Losing by 12 at Auburn, again, I didn't. This line stood out to me. Florida beat Georgia at home by 30 points on January 25th. And then here we have a very low number being hung. It's one of those spots where the market, to me, was opening up their arms to anybody who wanted to back the Gators here. And it made Georgia appealing. But it was such a low number that I hesitated pressing the button. This opened up at 7 and it got up to 7.5, which I was like, okay, I won't press it. Now it goes back to 7. Now we have a 6.5. This made the scene offshore. A 6.5. So we've had a full point move towards the Bulldogs. Can the Bulldogs stay in this? Let's take a look at the cash flow here because we will get it. From a cash flow perspective, 68% of tickets, 73% of cash on Florida, and yet this line moving towards Georgia. Do I have the balls to bet it? I said if, but Troy Thorne says if this market he says he wants Georgia in the under, but he said if this market moves towards Florida, all bets are off. He said he's never had Georgia in his pocket. DC Capper looking at Georgia plus 7.5. Pistol Pete, take it away. Gators, Bulldogs.
Well, I'd be leaning Georgia, but I definitely didn't bet it. Florida's a scary team. They are definitely capable of stacking, 8-point, 10-point road wins, even against good teams. Although, yeah, I'd be leaning Georgia, but no bet for me so far. I'll be looking at it live and at the half.
Billy Freer says the only home game for Georgia in which they lost by 7 or more points is the recent game versus Mizzou. Yeah, Georgia's clearly live. And the market's just opening up their arms to anybody who wants to bet the Gators. So I'm interested in getting involved with Georgia still, and now more so. The line had moved away a half point. Now it's moving with them. I'm going to take a little bit of time here. But I definitely think Georgia will be on my card. Let's move on to the next spot on here, the board for us. And we head over to the Patriot League here. Look, this line, I wanted to back Army so badly first half, and maybe I still get there. We have an Army team, a Black Knight team that was completely embarrassed in their last squad. it's the kind of squad that you would think would step up after the 84-53 loss at Bucknell. Look, Bucknell is behind American here in the Patriot League standings, a game back. But how in the world could Lafayette, a team that did just snap their 3-game losing streak, they had to play the bottom of the Ledger Lehigh Valley to get there, to snap that 3-game losing streak. They've been playing good ball, though. American, they lose by 2. Americans at the top of the ledger. Bucknell, we just talked about Army losing by 31. They only lose by 6. The Holy Cross, and it's not a good example. Holy Cross is a weak outfit. But this line here didn't make a ton of sense to me. These guys have played a 70-68 Army victory at home over Lafayette earlier in the year. Ronnie Lofton said tailed Spooner on this one. Let's get back to Spooner's action here, which I copied and pasted off the top. Spooner is on Army plus 4.5 at minus 112. When you look at the records of these two squads, I mean, like, look at Spooner crashing with Incarnate Word last night. Now, I would have loved to be on Incarnate Word, and maybe if I had him break it down for me, maybe I would have joined him on it. But that line made no sense. Incarnate Word is a pick'em or a favorite in the game last night. Here you have Army 16-12, 10-6 in the Patriot League against team that's 11-18, 6-10 in the Patriot League. And they're getting they're dogs. Like this line just threw me for such a loop that I couldn't move on it. And even to take it further, Lafayette opens up minus 3. They get to 4.5 now, 4. I got to just cut this game, even though Army first half would be my look here. When we get to the cash flow, let's get to the cash flow here. We have 50% of tickets, 80% of the cash on the Lafayette Leopards. Take it away here for SP Kirby Sports Center, Easton, Pennsylvania.
I'm going to look in to see if there's any injury issues for Army or whatever, personnel stuff. But I took them. You can make that official for me. First half, plus 2.5, minus 115. I see it at one place, big place. First half plus 2.5, minus 115. Now you can make that official.
That was my whole plan. Now, does the market not concern you at all here, or is you thinking it's more of a full game concern?
Because what? Because Ras released some pick, or why the market? Why the market move on this game? You know what I mean? It doesn't concern me that much. A little bit, not that much.
Enough plus work on the Georgia spot. I'm gonna look further because you bet the bet I'd planned on betting. I don't know if I can get there. Jerry Davis is Lafayette last home game line moving to them. I'm on Lafayette. I get it, Jerry. Let's roll on, Pete. Fifth Third Arena is our next spot. Cincinnati, Ohio. Res Mob saying he went 13-1 at Pubapalooza 2. 13-1 at Pubapalooza 2. Kong Slip says Duke is Louisville on their heels in conference. I think they take this game seriously to try to stretch their lead in conference. We have Baylor Bears, Cincinnati Bearcats. So I wanted to back Cincinnati here. I wanted to back them. I planned on backing them. It was bouncing around 2 and 2.5. Now it's back to a 2. This opened up at 2. It got up to 2.5. It got up to 3. This was 3 at 9:30 in the morning. Now we're back at a 2. So we had a very slight move towards Baylor. The Baylor loss at Colorado, are they going to bounce back in this spot? I think that's what the market is indicating. But, Cincinnati broke my I bet it at the wrong time against West Virginia. I know Stacks got the 3.5, I believe. I got the 2.5, so Stacks got the win. And I got the loss. It was frustrating. And here, this line just makes me really, really, really uncomfortable. From a total standpoint, we have a 138 now. It's minus 112 to the over. This opened up at 140.5, so it had a big move towards the under. Kelly McInnes on Cincinnati minus 2.5, which was, my plan. Now we have cash flow wise, we have 55% of tickets and 85% of cash on Cincinnati. So why is the line not moving towards them? The 65 and 62 on the over, and we've had this big move to the under. Lex Steele says Cincinnati money line as a parlay piece. Jerry Davis says the under is the only way you could go. Take it away, Pete. Baylor Bears, Cincinnati Bearcats at Fifth Third.
I bet Cincinnati. Not nothing crazy. I make a ton of bets on college basketball cards usually, so you can make that official. Full game -2, -110. If it loses, I can understand why. Baylor might surprise here, and if they do, I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. And also, a lot of times with games like these, I can sometimes make things better live or at the half. But yeah, Cincinnati -2, full game. You can make that official.
Yeah, you got it official. I mean, I was close to betting them. Now there are three smash and grabs, maybe four, that I thought about, and I have not moved on any of these perceived smash and grabs here. So this was the first one, and it's the Pitt Panthers. I've heard Troy talking about the tech, so I'd be interested to hear more of it. Pitt coming off a 76-72 loss at Notre Dame. Back home, they've been winning by margin, and I found the market to be really indicative of them here. They're bigger favorites than we expect them to be. Georgia Tech coming off the loss at Boston College 69-54. If you go through, if you put a line through that loss at Clemson, it was the win, the triple overtime win at Clemson where they played out of their minds. Georgia Tech has struggled on the road. I mean, you have the 69-54 loss at Boston College, 75-61 loss at Virginia. Now we're skipping that Clemson impressive performance. You have another loss, 71-68 at Notre Dame, 91-78 at Florida State, 93-71 at SMU, 62-55 at Syracuse, 68-65 at North Carolina, 76-61 at Oklahoma. They have one win on the road this year, and it was the triple overtime outlier at Clemson. So are the Panthers going to take care of business here, coming off the loss to Notre Dame? And now, Troy Torrance says, I think Georgia Tech is live on the money line. Pitt doesn't cover spreads. Well, this is, I think, the same line that we got. Let me just double check that. Similar line that we got in the Pittsburgh-Syracuse game. And Pitt was way bigger favorite than we thought they were going to be. Went from 10 to 10.5 to 11 to 11.5. Now, they only won by 11. They were down 7. Now, I moved live with Nutflush on Pitt -1.5 at halftime. They just completely took over the game in the second half, excuse me. But Jerry Davis agreeing. So Mr. Tomato says Georgia Tech beat up Clemson and Louisville. Let's go back to this Louisville spot because they only have one road victory. Oh, when they beat them at home. So, okay. So Mr. Tomato's liking this spot with Georgia Tech. Look, we know that the Panthers shouldn't be this big of a favorite probably against anybody, and that's what the appeal is for me. This total's at 141.5. It's -115 to the under. It opened up at 141.5. We have just 5-cent move towards the under. When we get to the spread here, we have Pittsburgh -8.5, -111. They opened up at 8. They moved to 8.5. And then when we get to the cash flow, 54% of tickets, 55% of cash on the total. On the spread, Georgia Tech has 58% of tickets, but just 50% of cash. I think, and yeah, you mentioned that, Kong. Thank you. Troy says, I personally think Pittsburgh is a bad basketball team. I think Georgia Tech is significantly better than Syracuse. I guess I'm going to be going up against you guys. It certainly won't be a double up, but I guess I'm going to be going up against you guys. And I imagine it's going to be full game and not first half, but I don't. This line is just bigger than I expected it to be, and I think it could be a smash here. And Pitt senior night for Spooner. Let me go over that quickly here one more time. Is this the senior night for the Panthers? Which, again, doesn't necessarily equate to anything. No, that's the last night of the year at Boston College, Saturday, March 8th. I don't think there's a senior night. I think that's the last night against Boston College. Take it away for us here, Pete. Do you back the chat with Georgia Tech?
No, this is a pass for me. Georgia Tech is definitely a scrappy team that overachieves in any situation. The potential is there, so pass for me. But again, Pittsburgh at home is usually something I don't want to fade either, so pass.
Yeah, Spooner, it's a bigger line than one would expect. A shout out to our guy, Dabby Cab, in the house. Of course, Dabby Cab with the show must go on, but hurting right now after losing his grandfather over the weekend. And now, Dabby Cab going to carry on the legacy of his grandfather. But there's a lot of cappers going through that kind of pain right now and that hurt right now. And it's important to know that they're not alone. So we love you, Dabby Cab. Can't wait to sit and have a drink with you at Pubapalooza, man. Great job on the opening. 6-1. The cappers went on the Best Bets show. But let Dabby know that how much we love him. A lot of hurt in that family over the weekend, losing the grandfather. And so send out the love to our friend Dabby Cab. Let's roll on, Pete. Old Dominion Monarchs, Marshall Thundering Herd in Huntington, West Virginia is our next spot. And I've bet this. Now, you could say that I'm falling for a trap, that the line should not be this big. We just watched these teams play a very close game. Now, it was at Old Dominion. So you could say, look, I'm falling for a trap. The line shouldn't be this big. And maybe I am. But Old Dominion, just 11-18, 7-9 Sun Belt. They can play with Marshall. Now, it makes me nervous. Von Polo saying he's moved on the Marshall Thundering Herd. I got plus 10.5 at -105 at 365. It was a better line than what was being offered offshore. Let's get into the line history here and set this one up. But again, I kind of dove pretty deep into that game that they just played. And I was like, why wouldn't that inspire ODU to go into Marshall and play good basketball? I couldn't understand why it wouldn't. Let's get into the line history here, Pete, for the Marshall ODU spot. We still have the 10.5. I was hoping it'd be a better line now. It makes me nervous. This was never it was sort of a 10.5. It was -117 to Marshall plus at -10. Now it's at a pick 'em at 10.5. That makes me nervous. I was hoping that we'd be sitting here at a 9. From a total standpoint, we have a 149. It's -114 to the under. It opened up at there we go. It opened up at 147. So that just went up a 1.5. That just 13 minutes ago. So a pretty legit move towards the over 13 minutes ago. Cash flow wise, let me grab it. Sorry. Too many things open here. Okay, let's grab the cash flow for this spot. We have 40% of the tickets, 34% of the cash on Marshall. So Old Dominion public. I think I might be falling for this. Might be a mistake here. 50 and 46 on the over. What are your thoughts with this spot, Pete? Do you think I kind of fell for a line that shouldn't be this big, and they're opening up their arms to anybody who's wanting to back Old Dominion? We see 60 and 64 backing them. Take it away, Pete. Monarchs.
Yeah, I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass on this one. Old Dominion's been a very weird team this year. Very, very up and down. Very, very inconsistent. Wouldn't be enormously shocked if it turns out later on that there was some funny business going on in a few of their games here and there. I'm not saying it. I'm saying they've been very capricious, hard to predict, and this is going to be a pass for me. Might do something on the halftime, but pass for me pregame.
Yeah, Mr. Belvedere says Marshall smash and grab for the same reasons you're not on Georgia Tech. See, the reason why I didn't think that was the case, and maybe I, like you're saying, Mr. Belvedere, I've fallen for the trap, but the reason why is just because cappers are going to look at what Marshall's been doing. And what have they been doing? What Old Dominion's been doing? What have they've been losing, which is not the case for Georgia Tech and Pitt. You're saying that this line is bigger. It shouldn't be a double-digit spot. But look, they've lost 5 straight games. They've lost 6 of their last 7. If we take them on the road, they lose by 14 at James Madison. They lose by 6 at Eastern Michigan. They lose by 22 at Georgia State. They lose by 3 at Georgia Southern. So I thought that this line, I could Now, I mean, is Marshall that much better than them? And also the difference between the Georgia Tech and the Pittsburgh spot. I mean, look at don't Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh have the same in conference record? Here you have the Thundering Herd that are 10-6 in conference. I do think there was enough difference here. Troy saying I think this -10.5 is very sharp. I'm nervous about the spot, but I did move on it. Old Dominion, Marshall. Let's roll on to Sunbelt action. I had planned to be on Georgia Southern. I had planned to be on the Eagles. I couldn't get there. Shout out to our guy Jerry Davis here. He says lost his mom right before Christmas. He's been rolling with the boys on Medicaid Mondays and says try to stay out of the quiet place in my mind. Jerry, thoughts to you, my man. So sorry you had to go through that. And as you can see, there's so many different cappers dealing with it. At our age, that's what we have to deal with. But thinking of you, man. Sorry you had to go through that. Lex Steele looking at Georgia Southern. Justin McKelvey looking at Georgia Southern. Morgan says his line smells terrible. So let's get into this spot here. I'd planned to move on it. The total's a 138. Opened up at 138.5. So we have a half-point move towards the under. On the point spread, here we have Georgia Southern down to +1. God, I missed it. Wow. I thought this line was moving away from them. I saw 2.5s. Wow, and Georgia Southern even became the favorite. Well, I should have moved. Wild. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. Well, I mean, that's why you're going to get the market to. I mean, maybe you should just fire away at all of your plans. And 62% of tickets, 64% of cash on the under. On the spread, 48% of tickets, 82% cash on Georgia Southern. On the money line, same deal, 25 and 92. Look, Georgia Southern are clearly the play, and I should have moved on this already, which I will do now. Georgia Southern, Pete, what are your thoughts on this spot here? Georgia Southern hosting the Mountaineers.
I think it's interesting. I didn't bet it. I'll be monitoring it live and at the half. It does feel like a Georgia Southern spot. Classic sort of spot here.
Yeah, I got to move on them. They just lost at App State 79-74 in overtime. They just lost at James Madison 78-73. That was a real tough game. They playing them in short succession. As I said, Old Dominion played them pretty tough, but Old Dominion had been killed by Georgia State in the previous game. Georgia Southern will be added to my card. I should have moved earlier. That was a mistake, but I'll deal with it. Here's another spot that I really wanted to move on that I didn't, Pete. The line was moving against me. I wanted to back the Western Michigan Broncos here. Kalamazoo, Michigan University Arena. I planned to, but the line was moving against me, and I stayed off. I was also interested in the race to 20. After the debacle and the embarrassment, I thought that Western Michigan was going to be ready to go here against the Bobcats of Ohio. Ohio 9-5, 4 games out in conference. Western Michigan coming off the 86-57 loss at home to the Chips. I mean, they got to be ready to go first half, don't they? Ohio coming off back-to-back wins, but if you go back to them on the road, they lose to Kent State 76-75. They barely get past Bowling Green, a weak opposition. Well, why wouldn't the Broncos be ready to fire off that, enormous embarrassment? We also have a spot where I think the thing was they hadn't played each other yet. Let me just go back to the spot here quickly, but Western Michigan. Yes. So sorry. Ohio had destroyed Western Michigan 94-69 at home. Just feels like that bounce back spot. It was a very low line, kind of the thought now, but look at this. Western Michigan's now at +7. This has moved 2 points towards Ohio. So I'm glad I stayed off. And I'm going to have to continue to stay off. Any interest here in the MAC, the Pete, Bobcats, Western Michigan Broncos?
No, I think race to 20 is okay, although it makes me a little nervous. I'd prefer race to 6, personally, Jim. I think Western Michigan will have the edge in the first minute and a half of this game. After that, I don't know. Ohio, that home win over Akron, pretty impressive. And Western Michigan, no slouch. They had been good, but it's a tough one. And yeah, the line movement is pretty telling. I'm a little bit surprised by it. Even when I disagree with the line move towards a dog, that it seems like almost always it moves in the dog's favor in a situation like this. That's very telling, I think, that it went in Ohio's favor. So I don't know. I'm off it.
Well, let's roll on. I'm comfortable leaving that one off. Next are two first half spots that I wanted to move on that I was planning on moving on. Sorry, my computer just kind of broke down there. Oh, now I got the chat back up. Let's get that over here. Okay. Let's roll. So this spot here, we have Buffalo Bulls stay in the MAC, 8-19, 3-11 in the MAC. Central Michigan Chippewas 12-15, 5-9 in the MAC. We're Mount Pleasant for this spot. You know, the Bulls are a poor basketball team. We know that. But there are spots where I think they could be live early. Central Michigan, you know, playing good basketball, and this is a dangerous spot. They just absolutely destroyed Western Michigan. We just went over that. I mean, they just did it. I mean, we're talking on Saturday. And Buffalo coming in off that loss at Ball State. And I was interested in the Bulls stepping up early enough to cover the first half here. We have a Bulls team that the problem is they beat Central Michigan. Maybe that should be enough to get me off this. They beat Central Michigan at home, so it's not like Central Michigan is going to take them lightly. I guess I'm should just stay off of it. But the market here, Buffalo now 13.5. They opened up at 14.5. They opened up at 15. This was 15, and then this was back at 15.5 right before the show started. You could have got the Bulls 15.5 at even money, and now we have a 13.5, a 2-point move towards the Bulls. Super true story on the over. Troy Torrance says, "Get your lipstick out." I've got the lipstick bet. I've got it, and it's gorgeous. And it's in the Ohio Valley Conference. You guys already know probably what I'm doing. Jerry Davis, there's my guy Markel in the house. Jerry Davis says Buffalo just too many. I guess I'm going to stay off of this spot now. But let me look at the cash flow and see if maybe that pushes me in the direction here. On the spread, we have 97% of the tickets on Buffalo. Jesus, 60% of cash. On the total, we have 66 and 63 on the. I'm going to stay off the Bulls here. King Who, man, been too long, buddy. Nice to see you. Take it away for us here, Pistol. Any interest in Bulls chips?
No, I'm going to stay off this. Buffalo's a bad team that has been overvalued. I haven't bet them too much this year. I think I've made like 5 or 6 bets on like 1 or 2 wins, 3 or 4 losses. Pass for me.
Troy Torrance on the Bulls first half. That was my whole plan. That was my entire plan. I'm gonna stay off of it now, but I like where you're at. So this was the bet that I pulled, and this is our next spot. Akron Zips at Ball State Cardinals. We're in Muncie. I pulled Akron first half. The line moved, so this is a 7.5. It's moved to 8, and I was going to move on Akron first half. Let's see what it's done now. Let's see if it's back up 4.5. Wow, it's 5 at some books. Jesus. So this opened up at 4.5 at 8:15 this morning. 2 minutes later, and I'm sitting there staring at the book. It moves a half point against me. Takes an hour and 45 to move back to Akron. At this point, we've had a slight move towards Ball State. Let's see what and then we've had the full point move, slight move on the first half. King Who, what a great guy, says, how do we become a gold member from Jose Bouquet? I forget the exact how to explain it properly. Maybe Jose can be the voice of God and lead us there. But then you can be in every race, and we start racing again on Thursday. Let's get to the cash flow here for this Akron spot. And so it's moved a point towards Akron full game. It's not moved first half. And it was first half that I was close to moving on. 66 and 68 on the over. 32% of tickets, 38% of cash on Akron. Let's get so then we'll just set up the X's and O's here for this Akron spot. Let me just quickly move back over here. Spooner said, I'd fade Ball State and Muncie. Basketball means, I don't fade Ball State in Muncie. Basketball means a lot there. They play tougher at home. Just feel the reason to back Akron first half is they just got crushed at Ohio. It's their first loss in conference. And it wasn't just a loss. I mean, they lose by 17. You have Ball State coming off beating a cupcake in the Bulls of Buffalo. I'm going back to this. I think Akron first half, I think that they play strong here. I think they step up off of their first loss, and I expect to bet them as soon as the show's over. Let's just quickly touch on the first meeting between these two teams. Akron won 81-73 at home. That was just on February 4th. It was a tough game. Akron were 13.5-point favorites. Ball State shot 54.9 from the field. Look, if they shoot 54.9 from the field, I won't cover the first half. I dare them to do that here. Take it away for us here, Peter. Any interest in Akron first half?
Yeah, I took Akron first half myself. Nothing crazy, So, if it loses, it'll be one of my many bets on the card. That's -110. But I took a shot with Akron first half -4. They should, they're a legit elite MAC team, and they should come in here and try to establish some kind of, respectability.
I like it. Are you going to make that official?
I guess I should.
You can think on it. All right.
I'll take it. -4, -119. Sure.
Okay. We have a move on Akron first half -4, -119 here for Loshak. All right. This is my lipstick on a pig. Although I'm going to put the lipstick on Georgia Southern. I wish I didn't wait for more market analysis. But it's the goddamn leathernecks of Western Illinois is my lipstick on a pig spot. We'll get this graphic up here shortly. Lindenwood Lions 14-15, 9-9 in conference. At the Western Illinois Leathernecks 10-19, 4-14 in the Ohio Valley Conference. Lindenwood coming off a loss against the best team in conference. So there's no fault. There's no shame in that. They look fine. I mean, they lose by 16, but it's the Leathernecks that I'm backing here. Yes, they just lost by 14 at Little Rock. Little Rock 12-6 in the Ohio Valley Conference. They get beaten up badly by SEMO. So did Lindenwood. But if you go back to where they've been at home, they're playing well at home. They just beat Morehead State 72-67. Before that, they beat Southern Indiana. Now, before that, you go back to a 4-point loss at SIU Edwardsville, but I think that they can rock here. They went to Lindenwood and they lost 71-65. So they're capable of winning this game. And that's what I have bet them to do. I got them on the money line. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with from a line history standpoint. I got the first half up. Let me just quickly move over to full game. And also let me move over to money line because that's what I'm on, even though the money line will come out later. I believe I got a -115. There was a -114 offshore. I didn't bother. I sent it in a -115. Let's get this line up here, right? Oh, God, a move against me. Damn it. They're now -104. 10-cent move against me. 10-cent move towards Lindenwood. By the way, Rick J saying he's liking that Akron spot here. But come on, a 4-14 in conference team being a slight favorite. Now they've moved to a dog, which makes me uncomfortable. But I'm on Western Illinois here. I wonder if we get any cash flow. It looks like we won't here, and we don't. So I doubt we'll get anything on the money line, but why don't we check? We do. Here, 33% of the tickets and 99% of the cash is on the Lindenwood Lions. But I'm on the Leathernecks. This is my lipstick on a pig spot. Take it away, Pete. Any interest?
No, I have nothing on this one. I was going to, a lot of interesting factors kind of going in both directions. So I was going to monitor live, maybe do something half. I'm surprised that you have a strong opinion on a pregame angle on this. So you're liking Western Illinois. I mean, certainly defensible. I'm just saying that there's defensible arguments for the other side as well. So I hope you cash it, Jim. Well, unless I make a live bet or a halftime bet, in which case your interests conflict with mine.
Yeah, let's roll on. We roll on. Sorry, let me just add this here. No, we capped it. Okay, let's roll on. Next up for us is Mississippi State Bulldogs. This was what I wanted I wanted to bet the Bulldogs here. 19-8, 7-7 in the SEC at the Alabama Crimson Tide, 22-5, 11-3 in the SEC. We're in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for this spot. This is a big one. Let's discuss it here. Get over to point spreads. And I'm looking forward to hear your plan of attack here, Pete. Mississippi State just lost at Oklahoma, 93-87. Look, Oklahoma's not a good basketball team. It was not a good performance by Mississippi State. We watched them beat Ole Miss in a game that meant a lot to them, 81-71. Come back and take out a very good Texas A&M team at home. Take them out by 16, and then they kind of no-showed, which is not a bad spot. We watched Alabama got their bounce back. They beat Kentucky 96-83. They're feeling better about themselves. Is this a spot where Mississippi State can get the cover? And I want to know whether I should bet them. The problem is this line's gone against them. This line had moved towards them, and then I watched it moving back, and that's why I didn't bet it. I was going to bet it. Opened up at 8. And now we have an 8.5. So we've had a half-point move toward Alabama, and which makes me feel good that I've not moved on it. When we get to the cash flow, we have a 172 flat, very high total, as all Alabama games are. This has come up from the 171, a 1-point move towards the over. And shout out to King Ooh, now our PSR Gold member. King Ooh. I love it. Now you get to race. $50 a race every Thursday and Friday right here. Respect to our guy, King Ooh, man. That means a ton to us. What a guy he is back in business with us. Let's get to the cash flow here before we hand it over to Pete. 96% of the tickets and 100% of the cash, if we are led to believe, is on Alabama Crimson Tide, which obviously makes Mississippi State more appealing. Take it away for us here, Pete. Bulldogs, Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, there's another one that, I don't have any opinion on. High volatility here, this is a game where I wouldn't be surprised if, Bama's up by 20 and then wins by 30, or if Bama loses outright. So I'm going to be monitoring live, halftime, all that, pregame, total pass for me.
Res Mob says it feels like an Alabama smash and grab. But Wage Detective says, oh no, he's on Ball State plus 8.5 for the Fade the Public special. Ball State here. Were they really that? Well, okay, let's. You're not fading the public, Wage Detective, when 68% of the tickets and 62% of the cash are on Ball State. I mean, if you want to fade the public, you bet Akron. But I thought it messed with me. But okay, so we just talked about our guy Resbob saying that Alabama is the smash and grab. Here are the two possible smash and grabs for me. Obviously, I got cold feet, so I'm not sure if they are smash and grabs. Let's start 9 p.m. Eastern. We have South Carolina Gamecocks, 11-16, 1-13 in the SEC at the number 14th ranked Missouri Tigers, 20-7, 9-5 in the SEC. We're Mizzou Arena in Columbia, Missouri. Let's get into the line history here and figure this one out. I also, don't forget, we have our bracket contest coming up here, $50 entry. It's a lot of fun, especially for all of us when we're in together at San Antonio. So we'll have our bracket contest coming up. It was a lot of fun last year and the year before. I believe Matty Ice won the original. I forget who won last year, but someone will tell me here shortly. South Carolina coming off their first win in conference, 15-point win at home over the Longhorns, and Missouri coming off a 92-85 loss at Arkansas. We've seen them at home. They destroyed Oklahoma. They beat Alabama by margin. Now, yes, they lost to Texas A&M, but A&M's a good squad. Missouri's a good squad. Is this a smash and grab spot for these Missouri Tigers? Now they haven't faced the Gamecocks this year. This is a lone meeting, so there's no Rip Benger or nothing of that sort. When we get to the total, we have a 145 at a pick'em. This opened up at 147.5. We've dropped 2.5 points to 145. When we get to the point spread for the spot, we have Missouri minus 12.5. So, look, I can't bet it. I mean, this opened up at 14. It's dropped to 12.5. So clearly this is not a smash and grab spot. Christopher Comtine says smash. That's what I thought. A shout out to Chang Kim in the house, looking for best bets from both of us, and we'll parlay it. Absolutely. Let me just write that here. Chang parlay here. So yeah, I can't bet this, Pete. I thought that this, after Missouri coming off a loss, and maybe this was the type of spot to fade South Carolina. Maybe it's a completely different thing psychologically. Maybe the Gamecocks are excited to get to the venue. But look at this, Pete. 97% of the tickets are on the Gamecocks, but just 17% of the cash. That's wild. Who would have thought that? On the total, now we're talking about 5,000 tickets. On the total, 58 and 56 on the under. Take it away for us here, Pete. SEC action, Gamecocks, Tigers.
Yeah, I don't know really exactly what's going on here because I did take Missouri first half. It's not a lock, but I bet it, and I'll make it official. And now at a prominent site, it's actually 105. So I'll take that. Missouri first half, -7, -105. Yeah, someone bet it. Someone bet it in the opposite direction as of right now. Possible misdirection, who knows? But I'll add that.
Wow, I get it. And I respect the balls too. BJ's best bet on Georgia +7.5. Very popular spot here that I think I'll be joining you on. Might focus on the first half here. Okay, let's go to the next smash and grab spot. This was also queued up. Line moved against me, and I was like, okay, it moved a point against me, and I was like, okay, I'll wait. Maybe this isn't a smash and grab spot. This is why these shows are so important. Now it's moved back towards Nevada. Line's been all over the place. I think that the Cowboys should be faded here, and that we should smash and grab Nevada. Nevada opened up at minus 12.5. It moved to 13 at 2 in the morning. Moved to 13.5 at 7:30 in the morning. Then it moved back to 12.5. This was 12.5 pre-show. I was like, okay, maybe I should wait. Now we're right back at a 13.5. It's telling me that I should move on this spot. Got the Hold My Nuts parlay of the day from our guy UPK Yashiola Robert Cherry in the house. A monstrous parlay. Alabama moneyline, Akron moneyline, Ohio -6.5, Kent State moneyline, Florida moneyline, Eastern Michigan moneyline. The Pamper Pop parlay of the day: Sabres, Capitals, Leafs, Blues, Wild under 6. Wild under 6 in the under in Panthers moneyline. You copy and paste that here. Let me move this over here. Okay. Thank you, Robert. So here, is this a spot to attack Nevada? I think it is. Let's get into the cash flow for this one. We have just 15% of the tickets and 30% of the cash on the under. Let's get to the spread here. Sorry, I didn't have it set up. From the point spread perspective, cash-wise, we have just 1% of the tickets on Nevada. I find that very difficult to believe. 1% of the tickets and 40% of the cash is a very strange numbers coming to us from the Action Network. Whether or not we should put any faith in them is questionable. And then when we get to Wyoming, a very, very weak Cowboy squad this season. They're coming off an 82-73 loss at home to San Jose State. They just played San Jose State in Air Force. Now, they came to play at New Mexico. I'm not sure why New Mexico wasn't, I don't know. But then Colorado State destroys them. This is the perfect spot to back Nevada for the smash and grab. They're coming off 2 losses. They're coming off 2 losses against 2 very strong teams in the conference. The last one was at home, a 70-69 setback at home versus Boise State. This has got to be the smash and grab right now. Take it away. Your thoughts on this one, Pete. Wyoming, Nevada.
It's going to be a pass for me. Nevada certainly, off 2 tough losses, so it's a good spot for them. Wyoming, I'd have to look into a little bit more closely, or ask DJ Big Boss to give me a 15-second rundown of them, because they had been very good ATS, slumping recently. So I might look a little bit deeper into what's going on with Wyoming right now. But sure, I can see a blowout win by Nevada, definitely. I lean that way more than the other way.
That's going to be so I'm going to have to leave the Missouri spot off at this point. Again, we'll take more looks at them afterwards here. Shout out to King, who says, really thinking about going to San Antonio, meet all the great cappers and people in the chat. King, and anybody, let me know if you are coming, and we will add you into our Pub Up Palooza chat. Our comic, booked for Sunday evening. Got a great comedian, Barry Laminack, Texas comic, going to be rocking with us on the Sunday. Of course, you guys know how we do, man. Thursday's just nonstop gambling. Friday, we have our poker tournament at the Southtown 101, or you can go to the Spurs Sixers game. And then Saturday, we, of course, have a lot of boozing and gambling and live streams at the Southtown 101. We also have we're talking about bringing in a basketball hoop. We're going to see if that comes to fruition. But we will have a cornhole contest as well. We'll be playing the bags on Saturday. Sunday, we have the comedy show. It's going to be magic, man. Chepidora play of the day. We have strategic investments on the Boston Bruins going heads up with me. I love it. Without their best two defensemen. You don't want to be sitting here on the side that every single person's on. You want some competition. Good luck, my man. Let's review all action here in college basketball. College basketball, I'm on Miami first half plus 13.5. But let's go over the cappers in the chat here. We have Richmond plus 14.5, a spot I'm going to double look again at. And Illinois total over 171.5 from our guy, Justin McKelvey, star of the Stacks play of the day.
Stacks, 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 stacks.
Pig Milk play today on Santa Clara plus 6.5. That line was a surprise to me, but yes, it looks like too many points, but is Gonzaga really, after losing Santa Clara in their own barn, going to let go? I don't know. Then we have Kong's clips on Louisville first half and full game. Spooner on Army, Illinois State, Troy, and New Mexico money line. Illinois State money line for the Clark Edge play of the day. Rick J on Cincinnati, looking at Gonzaga first half, and the respect play of the day is the Pelicans first half plus a half. From Peter and I, before we get into NBA here, from Peter and I, we have I'm on Miami first half plus 13.5. I'm going to add Georgia first half. Maybe I should be adding the full game as well. I think I move first half. If I lose first half, I'll bet live because I know it's the sharp side. Loshak's on Army first half plus 2.5 minus 115. I was going to be on Army first half. I'm not anymore. Loshak's on Cincinnati minus 2. I don't know if I get there. I think it's a pit spot. I think the line is huge and it's not moving. Strategic investments on Alabama minus 8 over Mississippi State. DC Capper also on Santa Clara plus 6.5. Old Dominion plus 10.5 for me. This might be a mistake. I'm nervous about it. I'm going to add Georgia Southern. I got off of Western Michigan. I'm interested in Buffalo first half, but I'm not going to get there. Pete, you didn't make Buffalo first half official, right?
Buffalo first half?
Nothing. Okay.
I didn't. I'm not. I wasn't even leaning that way.
Okay, sorry, my bad. Loshak is on Akron first half minus 4, minus 119. I'm going to get back on that. I'm on these goddamn leathernecks of Western Illinois. I have some interest in Mississippi State. I'm certainly going to wait. I was going to be on Missouri. I thought it was a smash and grab spot. I'm going to wait. Loshak on them first half minus 7. I do think Nevada smash and grab is a spot. BJ's best bet is Georgia plus 7.5. And that's our college basketball here.
Well, you can add on 2 more for me if you want. All right, you ready, Jim? Just 2 quickly. I'll shout them out, okay?
Yep.
LSU first half plus 6 minus 116. All right.
Okay.
And Richmond first half plus 9. I think 110 is still available.
Yeah, that was my plan. I'm happy I'll take more time. Richmond plus 9. Was that regular vig?
Yes, 110. Yeah.
All right, Pete with 2 additions there. I love it. Time to move on to NBA, and we have the luxury of the final game here on our card being the big Mavericks-Lakers spot. Pete set these ones up, again, moving in the right direction in NBA. My sample size has been pretty small in NBA. As you guys know, I have a real legit fear. But look at Pete, a very small sample size, 80 wins, 66 losses, 5.72% ROI, a plus 8.35 units, average line minus 109. I feel like I'm seeing things clearly. I do fear it to the extent where when I'm alone, I'm not betting as much as college basketball right now. But let's get into it, Pete. I've not moved on these games, and I'm interested in getting into it. Jermaine in the house. We start with Celtics Raptors. Let's roll.
Okay. Well, first of all, I got 115 on the LSU first half +6. So you can give me that, Jim?
Sure.
And then second of all, just a quick caveat about NBA. I actually making a lot of NBA bets now and doing okay with them, but nothing at this point in the day. You know what I mean? It's always close to tip and live and at the half. Just so that, at this point in the day, there's almost nothing that I'm liking aside from an obvious handicapping spot maybe. But you understand what I'm saying, Jim?
Yeah, which puts us in different spots. I have no problem hammering away. I can understand clearly, though, the discomfort. It's
all right,
very
so
legitimate. So
sure. All right, so let's get into it. Boston, Toronto. Boston obviously rolling, right? I wind up taking a lot of Boston first halves and stuff. And Raps have also been good ATS recently. Toronto actually beat Boston in January. Now, I don't know if Boston cares. I don't know if they're looking back that far. They probably remember it, don't really care. But I would be leaning Raps full game, not first half, but definitely full game at the line at +11 or so.
Yeah, we're waiting to see if Pirtle comes back. Grady Dick will be playing. He is listed as probable, so Grady Dick will be in the lineup here. We have Drew and Cornette out, of course, for the Celtics. Horford is listed as questionable. Left toe sprain. Don't know if Horford will be in the lineup here for this one. The Raptors are sitting right now at +11, -105. They opened at +10.5, half-point move towards the Celtics. On the total, we have Toronto at 225.5, -113 to the over. Had an 8-cent move towards the over. Tatum over 14.5 rebounds and assists for Justin McKelvey here. Nasty Nate on Celtics second quarter. KP over threes. Get to the cash flow for this spot, Pete. We have 68% of tickets, 66% cash on the Boston Celtics. 80% tickets, 74% cash on the over. I don't know if they care about the loss. It was January 15th. 110-97 Raptors victory. It did snap Boston's 10-game winning streak. They had already beaten the Raptors twice, November 16th, December 31st. Celtics coming up. Again, we're not going to use shooting percentages or pace. I need more of a sample size post All-Star break. So we're not going to talk about those spots. Celtics coming off their second straight win post All-Star break, 118-105 at home over the Knicks on Sunday. This is a first of a back-to-back with travel. They play at Detroit tomorrow night. The Raptors come in off an impressive 127-109 win at home over the Suns on Sunday. This is a first of a back-to-back for them. They play at Indiana tomorrow night. The Celtics are 13-4 since they lost to the Raptors. Since then, Raptors are 8-8. Raptors are playing good ball. Now it's trickier than that. They've lost 6 of 8 despite coming off that 127-109 home win over Phoenix. For Raptors fans, I mean, you got a sign of the future. Scotty Barnes completely locking KD down was extremely fun for us to watch. 23 points from Quickly, Barrett, and Boucher, who also went for 10 boards. The problem is Pirtle is out, and we don't really have a backup center, and not one we can trust. So Orlando Robinson's been starting, Boucher backing him up. It's a problem. Is it a problem against the Celtics? Yes. Against Porzingis or Horford? Yes, very much so. So I have not got anything here really appealing. Anything appeal to you, Pete?
No, free play. I throw it on Toronto getting that many points, but no, pass.
Yeah, Toronto coming off of a win. Celtics playing good ball, whether they'll be Rebenga or not. Thinking of you, T-Moss, my man. Thinking of you, my guy. Yeah, this doesn't really appeal to me. Let's roll on, Pete. Cavs Magic, Kia Center.
Yeah, Cleveland, also like Boston, rolling, winning, and covering. Both Boston and Cleveland have been covering their big favorite spreads game in and game out recently. But similar to Toronto, Orlando has also been good ATS recently, not necessarily by margins, but good. And there's some fundamental reason for that, right? With Paolo and Franz Wagner back together, things are starting to gel a little bit for Orlando. So once again, I'd be leaning Orlando getting this many points. I think the first one I saw was 6. What's the line now? Where is that line now, baby? Oh, wow, 7.5. All right, well, there you go.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing, but how it's tough in the eyes of this market move. This total, by the way, 225.5 down to 221.5. Really a nice move for anybody who's already moved on the under, and I know a lot of you guys do that in Magic games. An 8 is what right now. It moved to 8 3 minutes ago, Pete, at Penny. We don't talk about that, but a big move, 2-point move now towards the Cavaliers, which has completely got me off of the spot. We get to the cash flow here. We have 81% of the tickets, 80% of the cash on the Cavaliers. Public, but the line moving. Books respecting it. 77 and 68 on the over. The Cavs continue to win and win and win. 20 and 6 on the road, 47 and 10 overall. Magic 29 and 30, 18 11 at home. Nice saying, looking at Cavaliers first quarter, Magic have been getting off to very slow starts. Justin McKelvey got the under 22, 23.5. Nice job. King U says Magic's starting to get healthy. He lives in Orlando, says, trust me, this home court is amazing. They are good. So the Cavs opened up the post All-Star break with 3 wins in 4 days. They culminated in that 129-123 victory at home over the Grizzlies on Sunday. So you have the team in Cleveland averaging the most points per game, 122.9. Donovan Mitchell, 24.2. Garland, 21.3. Mobley, 18.7. Garland missed that win over the Grizzlies. Atkinson said that he was hoping that he would be back on Tuesday. Right now, of course, Suggs out. It is Garland who's the only one on the injury report listed as questionable here at this point. So Mitchell went for 33 against the Grizzlies. Mobley, 25. Ty Jerome goes for 26 off the bench, 15 in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's why this team is so good. King, who says, yes, this Cleveland team is different because of the coach, but the Magic are good back, healthy, only missing Suggs. Orlando, 104.3 points per game. So you have the Cavaliers, at the top of the ledger, with what, 122.9, and then the Magic at the bottom, 104.3. Now, when the Magic do go over 104.3, they win. They've done it 5 times in the last 8 games. They're 4-1 in those games. Wagner, 25.1 a game. Banchero, 22.9. Both just under 5 assists a game. It's Anthony Black who's been stepping up, and you need someone to with Suggs out. 23 points on Sunday. He's gone double figures 5 of the last 8 games. Every time he goes for double figures, they win the basketball game. And there's King Wu, says Anthony Black, PRA's good look. One of the best young guards off the bench. And he's been stepping up here. And I like him much more than Cole Anthony personally. Take it away for us here, Pete. This line moving against the Magic, giving us cold feet on the spot.
Yeah, that's a weird, wacky move. I would have been leaning Orlando here.
Let's go into our guy, the Sweaty Butcher's prime cut. He is on the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets -3.5 is the prime cut from the Sweaty Butcher here. Let's get into the line history for this Bucks Rockets spot. Rockets -3.5 right now, -102. You get an idea of the importance of Van Fleet when he's not there. He practiced Monday. They're hoping he's in the lineup here. He's been out since February 1st, so we got the 25th here with the ankle injury, and he really helps control pace, distribute. So will Van Fleet be in the lineup? And if he is, do you want to back them on their first game with him back? Dylan Brooks is sick. He hasn't missed a game since December 27th, so he's sick is a bit of an issue. And then the same old deal with the Bucks. Of course, Portis suspended. Then you have Giannis Antetokounmpo as a game-time decision, but he's listed as probable, so the Greek freak going to be in there. Gary Trent here is a game-time decision, but he's listed as probable for some shooting off the bench. They have a lot of new pieces here, that are working in. Connaughton here is will not play. So Connaughton is out again here today. Remember Pat Connaughton throwing 95 miles an hour fastball. Here we go. So the Bucks won 3 straight in 4 games to start this post All-Star schedule. We just saw that they're -3.5, but it's not juiced towards them. The They opened up at 4, so we've had a half-point move towards the Bucks. When we get to the total here for this one, we have a 227.5. It's minus 107 to the over. I wish Sweaty Butcher was here. We need to get more Sweaty Butcher right now. I'd love to hear his thoughts on why this is the best bet on the board for him. Jim Duiger making a big move on the parlay with overs here. Go get it, 51-1. Thank you for the kind words, Turnsy. Nice to climb out of the hole, be slightly in the black, but I got a lot of work to do to make it an impressive season. Like last year, I felt like I was losing all year, and we end up 16.9 units, and I felt like it was a losing season. I want 25 or 30 here, so we'll see if I can start building. So the Bucks coming off a 120-113 home victory over the Heat on Sunday. They bring in Kuzma, Porter Jr., and Jericho Sims. Thank God, because of the suspension of Bobby Portis. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have 38% of tickets, 34% of cash on the Rockets is standing still, sort of. Half-point move towards the Bucks with 62 and 66. 80% tickets, 70% cash on the over. Rockets coming off an ugly 124-115 loss at Utah on Sunday. This is the first of a back-to-back too. They host the Spurs tomorrow night. Wine time also on the Rockets minus 3.5. Interesting.
Wow.
Take it away for us here, Pete. Bucks Rockets with Wine time and the Sweaty Butcher on the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. I would have thought Milwaukee. Well, the first line I saw was 4.5. I thought this was maybe a no-brainer. Don't overthink it. NBA situation or sports betting in general situation. Milwaukee been very good ATS in general recently. Houston obviously slumping. Their last game is a perfect example of that. Obviously, VanVleet makes a big difference, of course. But you just have a team that just has it all together, or mostly together, going up against a team that does not have it together, at least ATS-wise. And it's down to 3.5. But look at all these people that we respect, like in Houston. So, I mean, of course, I'm off it, but interesting to see who's on what.
Huh. Yeah. Not very appealing at this point. I'm certainly not going to be on the other side of those gentlemen. So, and then when I say not very appealing, I meant I kind of did have some interest in the Bucks. But VanVleet, that's such a big part of it. Let's roll on. Let's roll on 8 p.m. Eastern. Pete, Suns, Grizzlies. You want to set it up?
This is another one. I mean, gotta be thinking Phoenix first half, at least, right? Phoenix slumping in general on a current trip. Memphis back home after a road trip where they weren't that good straight up or ATS. Phoenix getting a bunch of points. And you got to think that Phoenix is, at least for a half here, going to get it together and be competitive and not lose by more than 4. Maybe not, but feels like a good bet to me. Phoenix first half, right? I might make that official.
Let's go over the line history and the cash flow here, Pete. Line total opened at 244.5, dropped down to 233.5 before it started skyrocketing up to 246. We now have 245, but it's juiced to the under. It was open at 244.5, juiced to the over. So basically, it hasn't moved. We get to the point spread here for this spot. We have Memphis minus 7.5, minus 103. They opened up minus 8.5, so we had the 1-point move towards the Phoenix Suns. Bet the Sky says, how do we feel about the Panthers Preds over 5.5? I mean, I'm not going to bet it. I'm trying to stay off total as much as possible, but you have the Predators coming off being shut out. You have questionable goaltending with the Panthers and coming off a real poor performance out of the Four Nations. So I think that makes a lot of sense to me about this guy. Jackson, 6 or more rebounds for Justin McKelvey, minus 127. Tyus Jones, 20-plus points and assists for Jermaine. Let's roll in this one. Grizzlies, 21-6 at FedEx Forum, Memphis, Tennessee. Suns just 11-19 on the road. I don't trust the Suns' character.
No.
So the Suns coming off of a loss, a bad one, 127-109 in Toronto Sunday. It doesn't appeal to me to back them. Budenholzer's moved Bradley Beal, into the lineup, into the starting lineup. He's playing well. I mean, in Sunday's loss, he goes for 30 points in 41 minutes. 41 minutes. That's what I would do if I had Bradley Beal, honestly, paying him $50 million or whatever. I'd run him into the ground. Like, look, we're paying you this. Go out there for 40 minutes. Do something. Let's get into we did the line history. Let's get into the cash flow. Here you have 39% of tickets, 47% of cash on the Suns, 45 from 43 on the over. Look, I want to get involved in the card, so I'm not just going to sit here on the bench, but the point move towards the Suns. I mean, that doesn't appeal. Now, is Durant going to bounce back? I mean, who are we concerned about? I mean, Jaren Jackson, is Jaren Jackson going to lock him down? The Memphis Grizzlies would be an interesting spot. They're coming off the 129-123 loss at Cleveland on Sunday. And, they got Zach Edey, they got Jaren Jackson on the 5 and the 4, Jalen Wells at the 3. They got dominated on the boards by the Cavs. Now the Cavs are very good on the boards, but don't forget, in that Cavs game, they lost Jared Allen in the third quarter. So it wasn't, still dominate on the boards. The Grizzlies allowed 22 offensive rebounds for the Cavaliers. 31 points I went to. Ja playing well right now. He went for 21 against the Cavs with 10 assists. He scored 20 or more 3 of the past 4 games here. But and then look at Ronnie Lofton says, my son stink. No heart.
But yeah, I completely factored those two things in when with my lean to first half Phoenix.
Ronnie Lofton's on the other side. He watches the Suns play every day. He's on the Grizz first half, minus 4.5, Tyus Jones over 9.5. Wager Tech says I can't stand the Suns team straight up. And College Station also says that Bucks win by 4. He thinks that they're capable there. Look, I don't want to be involved. I don't want to back the Suns at all. I don't want to trust them. But is this a KD bounce back spot? 5 of 15, 0 for 5 from 3. Is this a spot where KD steps up? Because this total's at 245. There's going to be a lot of offense. There's going to be a lot of pace. Steve Miller says, I think Suns' money line might be in play. I wonder if this is a KD spot here. I would like to take a look and see how many points we would need him to deliver. Again, that's a long flight, though. He's come back, from Toronto on Sunday. I mean, they fly it back on Monday. I wonder if we're asking too much of him. Let's just see what his points is. KD points right now is 26.5. I wonder if this is a KD spot. Anything you want to add here, Pete? Did you want to move on, make the Suns first half official?
All right. I normally wouldn't do this, but for the show, I'll make some picks and bets now. I'm gonna shock the world with a minus 114 pick here. Phoenix Suns first half +5, minus 114, shocking the world.
Suns first half +5, minus 114 here for Loshak. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. All right, let's roll on. We have the Spurs Pelicans. And here's another spot. We watched the Spurs step up in that first game without Wemby. And now we just see how horrific they look. And to add to it, Charles Bassey may not be available. He played 6 minutes because of left knee soreness in the last game. So the Pelicans dominated the paint against the Spurs in the last game. 58-34, they outscored the Spurs. Kelly Olynyk has come down from Toronto. 14 points, 15 boards. You have Missy Makovich. They're just dummying this Spurs front court that looks so weak. I mean, Biyombo and Bassey's out. God, Bismack is just a mess. I mean, look, the teams just met here in a 114-96 Pelicans win. It was the Spurs' second straight loss. I can understand why somebody wouldn't want to back them, again, to do it again. But it just doesn't set up right for the Spurs. This opens up with the Spurs +2. They're now +3. We had a 1-point move to the Pelicans. I mean, I don't understand why we wouldn't get the exact same thing. Now, this total has shot up to 240. But again, we know exactly how the Pelicans think they can dominate the Spurs, and that's getting into the paint with these guys who are not high-scoring electric players. Why would this be up at 240? We're supposed to sit here and just say, oh, well, the first game went under, so the second game went over. 75% of tickets, 75% of cash on the Pelicans. 44 and 46 is on the over, so a lot of people are betting the under, and yet it's dropping. From an X's no standpoint, I just don't understand why we don't just back the Pelicans to win again here. But I don't like doing that on the second half back-to-back, even though it's not been we haven't been seeing the team losing game one, winning game two as often recently. Take it away, Pete. Do you have interest in either of these spots in the bump fight at Smoothie King?
I mean, this is like the ultimate like don't overthink it spot of the year, at least, if not the century. Can you imagine ever seeing something like this where a team like was a 2-point favorite, blew them out by 20, and 2 days later they're playing in the exact same location? Now they're a 3-point favorite. Yeah, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to shock the world by predicting that something that happened 2 days ago is going to happen again. I'll take the Pelicans. I'll take a money line minus 141 just in case.
Wow. Why? I don't want to get in the way of this total. It just makes no sense to me. Why in the world would this be climbing? But now, and we actually have. I cannot mess with that. When I understand that there's going to be a rock fight down low, and they're just going to keep feeding these fucking bums down low, and there's nothing that the Spurs can do with Bassey hurt, and then with Bismack, Biyombo. I mean, why would this go up to 240? I mean, all right. Let's roll on to the next ball on the board here. I think I join you on Pelicans, but God, the NBA can be so discombobulated. I don't know what the right word is. Top set in the house. Grizz money line team total under for Durant.
The word you're looking for.
Say what, my man?
The word you're looking for is fixed.
Yeah, I don't worry about that too much here in the association, but I get it. Top set, we need you in San Antonio. God, need top set in San Antonio. Let's roll. Hornets, Warriors here, the Chase Center, San Francisco, California. Hornets are on the second half back-to-back after an ugly 130-88 loss to Sacramento last night. The Hornets have looked horrific. They win on the road. We back them to beat the Lakers. We didn't take them on the money line, but we covered. But I had them first quarter too, so I lost a bit of vig. And then they lose 141-88 at Portland, which would say, of course, well, this team just lost by 30 plus. You back them. Saturates says Hornets are dumpster juice. And then they come back and lose 130-88. Now, they did rest Mark Williams, so he is expected to be back to face the Warriors. Game time decision. Let me just see. Probable. I expect. Okay, we don't know yet, but you have to think that he's going to be back in business here. And then we have a Warriors team still missing Kuminga. Jackson Davis is a game time decision. They've been going small anyways a lot here. He's sick right now, Jackson Davis. So we didn't get it yesterday. Do we get it here? We talked on Friday, I believe, about the Warriors getting 7 more free throws a game with Jimmy Butler in the lineup, which just shows the kind of basketball they were playing before Butler joined them. Just perimeter. You can't call it bullshit when you got Steph on your team, but just perimeter basketball. The Warriors are 2-0 post All-Star break. They won at Sacramento 132-108 on Friday. Then they win 126-102 at home over the Mavericks on Sunday. Butler's gone for 17 at least. He's also gone to the foul line 55 times in those 7 games. He's also hit 26 foul shots in a row. So let's take a look at the line history here. Is this the spot that was missed? Because I know that people were backing the Hornets yesterday. Why wouldn't they? You just got embarrassed. Do something. This total opened up at 223.5. We dropped all the way down to 219.5 beat. On the point spread here, we have the Hornets at plus 17. They opened up at 16.5, and now we have a plus 17. I mean, is this team that bad? I just find it hard to imagine them being this horrific. You have LaMelo Ball. He's going to care about going up against Steph. You have a team that was just embarrassed. I know it's their 3rd game in 4 nights, but Saturday says, do the Hornets get to 90? Take it away, Pete. Do you have any interest in the Hornets early?
No. I'm going to pass on this one. Might have a live play or a halftime play, but pass on this one.
33% of tickets, 29% cash on the Hornets. And Super True Story says Warriors. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. This is a Hornets first quarter for me. I mean, how they've been so bad 2 games in a row. You have a Warriors team that won by 24 on Friday, and then won by 24 again on Sunday. I'm gonna be on the Hornets first quarter here. I just if you know. All right, let's talk about the big one here. Let's talk about the big one, Pete, and it's a monstrous one. Dallas Mavericks Lakers. Set it up for us, my friend.
I don't know. It's the big one. Here we go. Still no Davis, though. He's out. Dallas getting a big number here, and, they're coming off of, blowout loss to Golden State. Before that, they were clearly undervalued, and anyone who was on that train was getting paid off. Most of that was at home, but not all of it. And so they're coming off of, their first ATS loss in a while. And it was a doozy with this one on deck. And then you have the Lakers, coming off of 2 really nice road wins and covers. Now they're coming back home. And I don't know, how bad or good are the Lakers right now? They couldn't beat Charlotte 6 days a week ago. Could not beat them. We're not talking about covering the 13-point spread. Couldn't beat them outright. So how are they going to beat Dallas here? I don't know. Got to be Dallas plus the points.
We have a 9 right now. This opened up at 8. It's going to keep moving towards them. I mean, I wonder if the spot is honestly, waiting and waiting and waiting, and then taking Luka's point total under. I mean, it's just going to go up and up and up and up, you would think. Right now, it's at 31.5. It is juiced to the under. I'm curious what everybody thinks is going to happen with Luka here in this spot here. Wow, look at that. Kong's Clips. Dan Hooker is out of his bout with Gagey at UFC 313. Well, thank God that happened here on a Tuesday morning, so our cappers can, make changes here for the Locker Room Talk podcast that hammers us here, that hammers tonight. Shout out to the Locker Room Talk podcast. Let's roll here. So, of course, it was the trade that was the biggest trade I can think of since Gretzky. And Luka comes across. So the Mavericks come in off the ugly 126-102 loss at the Warriors on Sunday. Lakers coming off that 123-100 victory at Denver on Saturday. Doncic has his best game as a Laker, 32 points, 10 boards. They're 2-2 since he's been rolling with LeBron. He's averaging 19 points per game in a Lakers uniform. LeBron's averaging 28.7 in the 7 games here. Austin Reeves rolling all February long, 23.9, 6.3 assists here. So let's take a look at the total. I mean, is there going to be a heightened defensive intensity in this one? Because this total just skyrocketing. Opens up at 229.5, now at 232.5. And then cash flow wise, we have 27% of the tickets, 24% of the cash on the Mavericks, 76 and 88 on the over. I wonder that. I mean, you'd have to think there's going to be more defensive intensity, don't you, in this game? There's just going to be a thickness in the air. Why would
no defense? Who knows?
You think none?
Ask someone who knows this stuff better than me.
I just don't understand why. Maybe how do I go up against this move here? There's so much pressure on Luka in this game. I'm not entirely sure how he's going to handle it. Resmob says Luka smashes and Braun feeds him. There's no pressure on the Mavericks in this game. None. AD not there. They're expected to lose. Maybe it's a Mavs first quarter spot, but even that, I'm hesitant to get in the way of what the hell Luka wants to do. It feels like Luka can do whatever he wants here. This is I thought that things were going to illuminate for me, but maybe they aren't. I don't see. Rick J says, "Who's covering Kyrie?" I mean, maybe it's Kyrie that's the answer in this spot. We do have injury issues here that need to be talked about. Of course, we know that Lively and Gafford are out, which is increased the importance of Dwight Powell, who's doubtful, so he's not going to be there. I know he's been terrible this year. And then PJ Washington, another crucial entity here, is questionable due to right ankle sprain. So what if there's no? So we know there's. I mean, what if it's Edwards at the 5, no help from Washington at the 4? It could be an ugly, ugly game. Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit with this a lot longer. Super True Story says, who does Luka guard because they know he plays no defense? Lex Steele looking at the Luka triple-double. Res Mob looking at Luka first quarter props. Lex Steele says Lake Show goes on. Any final words here for Mavericks Lakers, Pete?
No. Leaning Mavs, though.
I kind of lean their way as well, but I want to know if PJ's in, and I want to see how far this line goes. Well, I wonder if the Pelicans is too easy here, or if there's cappers who are expecting the Yang and the expectation they step up. I think KD is a night tonight. The question is, do I add the Pelicans? I'm going to be on the Hornets first quarter and KD over 26.5 points. The question then comes, do I add the Pelicanos, which I think I do, and do I add the Mavericks later? I'm certainly going to wait on that. So that is our NBA coverage for today. Pistol Pete Loshak moved on the Pelicans money line -141. He moved on the Suns first half +5 at -114. The prime cut is the Rockets -3.5. That is our NBA coverage for today. Pistol Pete, anything you want to add to NBA, or do we put a bow on this one?
No, definitely not.
And we have Pelicans booked by Viper MB as well, already bet for Vipes here. So let's bring back and on our producer and friend of the show to help us put a bow on today's program, Jose Bouquet. Jose, how are you, my friend?
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you guys. Pete, it's nice to see you. Jimmy, of course. I'm doing all right. Busy days, but excited for Pubblepalooza coming soon. Pete, excited for you to see you at Pubblepalooza. It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Pete, are you going to be bringing arm candy this year?
No, I don't know. I haven't even bought my ticket. I have my room, but I didn't buy a ticket. I gotta get on it.
I love how you have your room, but you're not your way there yet. That's nice.
Yeah, I'll get it though. We'll be good. I'm gonna do that today.
Usually it's the opposite. Thank you, Mr. Tomatoes. Let's review all action on today's show. Viper MB on the Pelicans -3, Dallas -1, Washington -1, Carolina -1 NHL. Billy Friedrich on Santa Clara +6.5. Justin McKelvey on Richmond +14.5. That's stacks number 1. Illinois over 171.5. Stacks number 2. Kongs Clips plays of the day. Louisville first half and full game. Spooners play today. Troy -1.5. He's also on Army +4.5. Illinois State -1.5. New Mexico moneyline +110. Clark Edge also on Illinois State moneyline. Rick J on Cincinnati -2. Res Mob, Res Spec play today. The Billikens first half +0.5. Peter's on the Toronto Maple Leafs. So am I. We're both on the -1. He got +108. I got +106. I'm going to leave the Ducks off the card. Hurricanes, Habs, we stayed off. Flyers -1. Line moving heavily against me. I'll deal with that shit. Loshak's on the Caps -1. I'm off that spot. He got -123. He's on the Jackets team total over 2.5. I'm interested here. On that, joining him, or maybe just joining on the Jackets full game. Interested. Lightning, I'm going to stay off. And then the under 6 Rangers Islanders. The Rangers just haven't been playing that kind of hockey, but I am interested. And I do think the Islanders are live. The Blues, though, I think I've come around, will be joining you, Pete. You got a -1 +122. Peter Loshak on the Panthers -1 at +106. And then the over and the Red Wings are going to be bet as soon as the show's over. Blackhawks, Utah, we stay off. I'm on Miami first half +13.5. I'll be adding Georgia. Will I be adding them first half or full game? I'm not sure. Pete's on Army first half +2.5. I'm going to stay off. The very uncomfortable with the market. I was going to be on Cincinnati -2. I'm going to stay off that one. Uncomfortable with the market. I'm interested in Pitt. I've heard a lot of takes on why the people are back in Georgia Tech, including Troy. I may sit with it longer. I might have walked into a trap with Old Dominion +10.5. I'll be moving on Georgia Southern after the show. Got off Western Michigan. Got off Buffalo first half. Going to be adding Akron first half to my action. I'm on those goddamn Leathernecks of Western Illinois. Be backing them here. Mississippi State, I got question marks. I'm going to wait. Loshak on Missouri, first half -7. I think it's Nevada smash and grab. Loshak also grabbed LSU, first half +6. Richmond, first half +9. Spots I'm going to look at a little further. We were going to break down the Richmond game. BJ's best bet, Georgia +7.5. And strategic investments going up against me in the Chapadora play today. Boston Bruins +135. We just reviewed NHL. Jose, my friend, we'll have Pete put a bow on this show, but it's great to see you. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. College Station 1777 memorabilia. Sir Mackey, Jermaine, Bet the Sky, Super True Story, Mr. Tomatoes, College Station, Redbeard. Thank you guys. King Oo, now a gold member of Pub Sports Radio. Thank you, King Oo. We thank you to Gorky with the donos blessing our action. Rez Mob in the house. Thank you. Lex Steele, Saturated, DC Capper, Rick J, Christopher Comentini, Top Set, Wager Detective, Ronnie Lofton, Stephen Miller, Ross Pitts. Thank you guys so much. Scarminati, wondering if Pete has any EPL plays here. Thank you to all. Barry Smith, all of you guys, thank you for the support. Pete, my friend, thank you, Oldie, my man, Nasty Nate. Pete, Pete closes. Jose, any last words before you hand it over to Mr. Loshak?
Sure, I'll quickly ask Pete. We haven't talked soccer in a while. Pete and I used to break down some soccer games. You just dormant?
I enjoy it. Just haven't really had the time, really, like I would want to. But I loved it. It was great.
It's like Pete's talking about that one time in his life when he was just like he decided to join a cult or became a swinger for like a month, something like that. That's what he's talking about.
Do you know what's happening with Pete's face? He's growing out his facial hair because he's got something up his sleeve.
Of course. He can get like a $3 shave in San Antonio and be shocked by it.
That place is dope, man. I want to go there this year. The place is fucking. I'm just too drunk, but
that is true. That is fact. But before we go, I just want to let you both know here. I'm telling you guys face to face here. I was told to make a list of potential bachelor party attendants, and I want to let you know that both of you are on the list. Pete, I put you on the list because I don't think you have the balls to come, but I want you to be there, Pete.
But we haven't proposed yet?
No.
Oh, Jesus, you're way ahead of yourself, man.
Well, I just want to let you both know. I mean, Jimmy's the obvious one. Of course, I'm going to invite my father. But Pete, I wanted to tell Pete face to face, so when he tries to run from it, escape from it, I'll have this memory right.
Is it Vegas?
Of course.
Oh, that's appealing. Is Nasty Nate the best man?
Nasty Nate is in the 18 people. Yes. He's not the best man, but he is in the list. Yes,
I like it. But propose first, and then
yeah. That would be nice. But Pete, so if I invite you, you're gonna come?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the balls to make half the bets I make. That's a whole different. Your bachelor party is a complete different level of balls that would be required, but.
I just need to see you come down the Vegas Strip with a big leather jacket, some shades, just looking cool as fuck.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it'll be. Plus, I'll be able to cosplay the actual movie Bachelor Party, which is a great movie.
Sure.
So it sounds like it'll be a good time.
But like Redmos is saying, don't ask for the day off, Pete. Keep your plans open because who knows? Helga's not going to say yes anyway. So, but shout out to you guys in the chat, Redmos, all you guys. Come to Pubapalooza. It's the best weekend of the year. Pubapalooza is going to be very, very fun. You can see all three of us there. I will be having competitions. If Troy Torrance isn't going to be there, I hope he is. But it looks like there's a new top athlete. So I wish anyone luck that wants to get dusted in a little race here.
I like it, Jose, my friend. Peter Loshak, words of wisdom. Lead us off into the future.
Well, we got to give Chang his two best bets, right?
Oh, yes.
Let's leave him with that. Which one are you going to give, Jim?
My best bet here will... Wow. I think it's Toronto Maple Leafs money line. No. The over 5.5 in the Red Wings Minnesota Wild game with the injuries to such top players and the power play goals expected. Over 5.5 in Detroit, Minnesota. Over 5.5 in Detroit, Minnesota. I never
right.
bet totals, and I rarely bet overs, but this is what I'm betting.
Okay. And, I would normally give the Columbus team total over, but, some places won't let you parlay team totals with stuff. So I don't know. I'll give them, the easy one would just be Washington as a big favorite. But I'll give them, you know what? I'll give them LSU first half +6. I'll give them that. LSU first half +6. I think they can hold them for a half.
That's great stuff. Now, Pete, do you have any words of wisdom to lead us into this nasty, scary future?
Oh, man. Get some sleep, eat right, breathe right, think right, act right, bet size right, cap right, do right.